Exciting, very exciting. Look how well lit I am. Hello, Ray. You are not too early now, seeing as I'm actually live. Look at my lovely kitchen. Oh, lovely. Hello, Kai. I'm here as well. Apparently, there's 21 of you. Can you hear me? Can you all see me? How are things? Oh my God. Hello, Aaron. I feel like this is going to end up being a load of the creators that I... Hello, wonderful. Yes, excellent. Chat is coming through. Victoria, I am also... you know what? I don't actually feel nervous right now. I just feel like we're plugging in and just kind of... Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And it doesn't really... It is out of our control now. Oh, hi, chat. This is amazing. You can all hear me okay. Lincolnio is being advertised at. I'm getting that sweet AdSense dollar. Hello, Luke Vulcan. Hello, nice to see you. Hello, Eleanor. Oh, it's so lovely to see everybody. Hello, nice to see you. Did everybody vote today? Hello, John. Good to see you. Hello, Kit. Right, okay. So here is kind of like what is going to happen for however long this actually ends up working. So Code and Gin has voted. And on the note of gin, I have mine with a nice posh slice of grapefruit in there because I am painfully middle class. You can see the rest of the grapefruit up there. Spent a lot of money on a grapefruit that I'm probably not actually going to eat the whole thing. We should rename this to I'm Scared. Anisha's saying that we should rename this live stream to I'm Scared, like it's 2012, and then maybe I can have like a duvet. Is this Internet of Earthens too old if we do kind of like a black and white, moody, let's talk about our feelings kind of a thing. So Charlotte is already lit. Charlotte's like voted, got drunk at Weatherspoons, and then ran back to watch this. Charlotte, you are a legend and a scholar. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Matched my garnish with my shirt very much. But yes, I would encourage you to grab yourself a drink. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. Grab yourself something to take the edge off, whether that is a cup of tea, whether that is a gin and tonic, straight vodka, also an option, you know, because it could very well be a little bit of a bumpy ride for us. Neil is saying, praying from the Republic of Ireland. Thank you. It means a lot. Okay, interestingly, I wanted to talk about this before the polls come in. Let me give you an outline of how this may work. So we're here about half an hour before the exit poll comes out. For those of you who don't know, the exit poll is essentially, it's the most accurate poll that is possible apart from people actually voting in the general election. The exit poll, rather than asking people how they're going to vote, what their intent is, which obviously in its own way is flawed, the exit poll asks people how they have voted, and so is therefore the most accurate prediction that we have. They have key people across the whole of the UK, ask them in like key constituencies, and then they extrapolate that, kind of like the poll that we have seen that has been cited a lot at YouGov for the past like couple of days. I wanted to talk about who I voted for. So if any of you, just give me an idea, chat, who here listens to the podcast that I have with Jimmy, who is my friend who voted to leave? How many of you actually listen to that? It's okay if you don't, just honesty. Please go ahead, answer said question, and I will take a judgmental sip of my gin. Oh, excellent. We have a splattering of yeses. EJ is a nope. That's fine. Bobby's also a nope. You know what, guys? my super fans. Right dishonorable, yes, guys. So if you are, oh, you know what? I am going to link you. This is a great opportunity for me to be able to shamelessly plug the podcast. Jimmy will be very happy. So let me find this, and I'll drop this in the chat. There you go. If you want to go and check that out, you can subscribe on all your favorite podcatching devices. You will know if you listen to that podcast, or if you have listened to that podcast, that I have been a little bit torn about who to vote for. I am staunchly a Lib Dem. I am, as I said, painfully middle class with grapefruit in my gin and tonics. And so my tendencies are towards kind of like the policy wonkishness and the remaininess of the Liberal Democrats. I first voted, the first time I was able to vote was 2010, before all of the tuition fees awkwardness with the Liberal Democrats when we were in coalition with the Conservatives. And so I have kind of like really fond memories of, the Liberal Democrats and Nick Clegg from that time. Obviously, things have changed, but there was a great kind of like hope around the Lib Dems at that point. I voted Lib Dem in every single election that I have been given the option to vote. Because frankly, whenever I look at their manifestos, I see policies that I agree with. And I think that the world that the Lib Dems want to build would probably be a pretty good one. Nice and balanced, centre of the road, not too left, not too right. They are the Goldilocks of the political spectrum. This year, this time, was the first time I didn't vote for the Lib Dems. And I couldn't support the revoke policy. So I copied my mate Jimmy on the vote dishonorable, totally stole his thunder, and I voted Green today because I live in a very safe Labour seat. It doesn't really matter how I vote. So I ended up voting not Lib Dem for the first time ever. And it was quite emotional because it was the first time that it was something that I actually had kind of like a conflict over. There was, who was it who said this in chat? Somebody, I scrolled up, lost to infinity. This election made me lose faith in the Lib Dems, so I'm drinking and joining to say goodbye to my former ideology. I don't think necessarily this is the end of my love affair with the Lib Dems. However, it is kind of like a turning point of like the first time that I was like, I can't support that party, which made it, which kind of like made it a difficult decision. I do not live in Caroline Lucas's constituency. Wouldn't that be nice though? She gets like over 60% of the vote every time. There's a safe Green seat. It is one seat in 650 seats across the United Kingdom. When did I choose not to vote Lib Dem? It was when it was just as I was going into the polling station. So I went with kind of like a gut decision. That freedom of actually being able to vote my conscience was quite a lot of pressure. And I got really emotional at the polling station this morning because, first of all, there was a queue. It's the first time I've ever had a queue at my polling station. And it was just kind of like, oh, everybody's here defending democracy. And I love that kind of sentimental bullshit. So it was quite nice. Nonsense and Glitter says, I really wanted to vote Green because they're who I align with the most, but I decided to vote tactically and so ended up voting Labour. How many of you in the chat, just to kind of like check, how many of you ended up not voting with your heart, but ended up voting tactically? Just as kind of like an idea. And I will take a sip. There's been queues at police station at uni for Marlene. Yeah. So a number of like tactical voters in chat. Bit of both. Those of you who are saying kind of like a bit of both, what do you mean? Did you like, were you going to vote Labour anyway, and you got to vote Labour? See, this is the tactical voting thing. everybody has their like echo chambers, and I did a poll of my Twitter followers to see how echo chambery I was, and I think 70% of my followers voted for Labour, so big echo chamber there. Michael voted tactically. Madman voted tactically. Oh no, Madman voted with his heart, but was in a safe Labour seat like I am. But yeah, there's all of this national polling, and national polls are only so useful. And we also have the MVP poll, what's it actually called? MRP poll from YouGov, which is like uses loads of like really posh statistical modeling to be able to try and kind of like figure out who does like what all of the seats are going to do by looking at demographics and intent and all those kind of things. And the thing is, that doesn't take into account how people are going to vote tactically, if they have chosen to vote tactically in these key marginals. There's about 50 seats that are marginal according to the MRP poll. And so we're not really going to know until the exit poll whether or not tactical voting really did affect this. There was more people talking about tactical voting this year than anybody else. Just catching up on chat, sorry guys. If I had the option, I would have voted green. Loads of you guys. So how many of you guys with your heart would have voted green? Because I feel like there's a lot of people talking about voting green in this in chat, just to kind of get an idea from you lot. Because this was the thing for me that, yeah, like handful of green people. So for me, voting green was like, oh, I actually agree with the majority of those policies. And also, it's such a large part of our zeitgeist. Like, we have Greta Thunberg going head to head on Twitter with Donald Trump, the two masters of social media. The green issue is obviously, they had a really good slogan of like, if not now, when? And I 100% agree with that. So I'm also interested, how many of you guys, because I just saw Caroline's message in chat, how many of you guys are watching from outside of the UK and are watching this abroad? Ian says his boyfriend's a Green supporter, but he was in a marginal seat, so always gets complaints from the SNP. Loads of Greens still. Okay, so if you're not watching from the UK, where are you watching from? So we've got somebody from Boston, someone from Italy, somebody from Hungary, Germany, Austria, another German, another American, Slovenia, Austria. Oh, Guten Abend. Guten Abend. Los Angeles, love LA. Somebody else from the US. Oh, another Austrian. Das ist gut. Oh, mein Handy ist voll up. Mein Handy ist here. I don't speak any German, by the way. Canada, Luxembourg, love Luxembourg. I've met my first Luxembourgish person this week. Very exciting. There's not many of you. Hannah grew up in the US but watching in Britain. Hannah, did you get to vote in this? Do you have British nationality? Antonio is complimenting my accent. This is because I'm in broadcast mode, so I'm not leaning into heavy Essex or heavy West Country. Marseille. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry, Marseille. But says that he's an EU, or they are an EU citizen, but UK resident, can't vote, which is a shame. But campaigned for Labour. My German, David, do not humour me. My German is not good. I literally know about 3 words. Ein Bier, bitte. Ich habe eine Mutter. Charlotte's giving me, hast du Geburtstag? Please speak in my natural accent. Well, depending on how long this stream takes, it's a subconscious thing. I can't control my accent. But it depends how long this stream takes, and how many of these I have. And it's like a 50-50 split as to whether or not I go very, very West Country, all right, mate, darling, how's it going? Or I go very, very Essex, and I'm like, all right, mate, how's it going? You know? Oh, Mark is throwing out some French. Interestingly, not many French people here today. Make yourselves known, France. But it's really nice to have an international audience with us. It's like I've been joking on Twitter this whole time about whether. Thank you, everybody is now. Oh, we have a French person, Pauline. Bienvenue. Ça c'est le stream. On peut continuer à avoir des bons temps. Très bien. There we go. That's A-level French. Oh my God, I love this. So Madman has just informed me that the BBC reported on the drag queen and Crown Queen of Essex, Cheryl Hole, voting today. She's a Labour voter, I reckon. Essex tends to be, or at least our part of Essex. Cheryl Hole is actually from a part of Essex that I'm not far from. Cheryl Hole, we probably grew up. Cheryl Hole is from Essex. Cheryl Cole is from Newcastle. Antonio is asking what the West Country is. If you look at the country, it's the West. I'm very clever. It is top quality news. You know what? If the BBC just reported on drag queens voting, then I think that the world would be a much better place. Oh my God, Joe. Sorry, my flatmate is here. Yep. He isn't going to be on camera. We have deep fried mince pies.
Yeah, John.
Yeah, should we get some deep fried mince pies? So we had a fish supper because we're British. They're in the oven to keep them warm. We went to the fish and chip shop around the corner, got ourselves some fish and chips. I had a skate and chips because, it's just the yummiest fish. But also they had a special of deep fried mince pies. In the same way that the deep fried Mars bar is seen as a delicacy north of the border in Scotland. Oh my God. Okay, this is now becoming a taste test stream. So this is Fish House in Stratford, a great establishment if you, this isn't spawned, but a great establishment if you are in the market for some fish and chips. Right, so this is a battered deep fried mince pie, because what is more British than eating a mince pie that has then been deep fried? As a Scottish person, the deep fried Mars bar is horrible. I deeply disagree. But we're going to see. So basically, this is a savoury batter wrapped around mince, which isn't meat. Joe's already eaten his. How is it? Oh, we got a lukewarm response from Joe. 10 minutes until exit poll. Isn't this exciting? And we're killing time by eating deep fried meat, mince pies. Okay, I'm going to try this now, right? Oh, God. Hot. It's very hot.
Very hot.
I'll be honest, it's just a hot, crunchy mince pie, isn't it?
Yeah.
But with like 3 times the calories. Surprise! It's a mukbang. We're doing a mukbang. Oh, this is brilliant. Crunch. Shall I? Oh, actually, let's turn this because I have my posh Yeti microphone. Hold on. Let's see if this works. This is the quality content that you came here for. Yes, it was, Dinka. Right, hold on. Excellent. I'm glad. That's really hot. Jazz MSR. I like that. Loads and loads of ASMR going on in these comments. I'm glad that you guys are getting your life. Wear headphones for the best experience. I love Legendarium, who just said, gay guy eats pies, gone wrong, gone sexual, gone election special, which is what we should really change. Which is what we should really change the title of this video to. So I reckon I still have 4 deep fried mince pies. And I reckon whenever a marginal constituency goes Labour, I should have another one.
It's interesting that you're choosing these over the alcohol.
Actually, that's a really good point. I should just be drinking. This is meant to be a really bad for your health poll. Oh my God, Jimmy's here! Jimmy! Jimmy, by the way, you have moderation powers, so you can kick anybody out if you want. Use your powers wisely. Everybody, for those of you who don't know, Jimmy is oh my God, and Ben's here as well. Oh my God, all of my friends. So Jimmy is my friend who I present the Right Dishonourable podcast with, where we talk about politics, social issues, and current events on a sporadic but often weekly basis. Jimmy voted to leave, I voted to remain, but we still get on. That is the message of the podcast at its core. Do everything with love. We have 7 minutes. Gary's here as well. Oh, this is so wonderful. Everyone's here to scream into the void together. Incredibly excited about this. Oh my God, everybody, this is great. Everyone, okay, and now Gary is getting more information, more fun than I am. Hannah Witten is also here. Excellent. The party is officially started. Hannah Witten has joined the chat. Am I doing this on purpose? No, Hannah. I've noticed you now. Don't worry. Sorry, Hannah. Oh my God! I've just noticed that Hannah has been calling for attention for about the last 5 minutes. That's absolutely fine. Right, excellent. This is the best party. Very, very excited. Okay. We have just over 5 minutes to go until the exit poll is released. The most popular poll that, the most accurate poll that can exist, because we ask people how they have voted rather than how they're going to vote, in the famous words of David Dimbleby. But, oh my God, Dan's here. Hello, Dan. Love you lots. Come give me a hug sometime. We like Dan. Will, so just explain what the exit poll is. It is going apparently to go live. I have the BBC up in front of me. It's going to be released in about 4.5 minutes. I now, Jimmy is choosing the BBC over his friend. That's absolutely fine, whatever. We're going to put this off mute now. Oh, listen to that. So patriotic. While we're waiting for the BBC to go live, I want you guys to put your prediction in here. Conservative majority, hung parliament with Conservatives as the largest party, hung parliament with Labour as the largest party. Probably not going to happen. Is Jo Swinson going to lose her seat? Get your predictions in, guys. We're all political pundits tonight. Oh, it's very exciting. A very good evening.
5 years, the future of the United Kingdom is uncertain. And this time, with politics in deadlock and Brexit...
How much can you guys hear this? Is this loud enough for you?
Now, in a few moments, polling stations across the United Kingdom will close.
Hung with Conservatives. We want Boris to lose his seat. Go on, Hannah. Down with Ian Duncan-Smith. Hung Parliament, Tory government. Hung Parliament with Tories if the universe is feeling nice. Hung Parliament with a minority Labour. We're optimistic here, guys. So some pessimists as well, probably Conservatives, Robin says. Light also says that probably a Conservative majority. So it's very quiet. I don't want it to be too loud. I just kind of want you to be able to hear a broad idea if I am not talking. Gary's prediction is in. Gary's prediction is hung parliament with a small Tory majority. That's not a hung parliament, Gary.
They know that these ballot boxes hold the key to their future. And my colleague Nagam and Chetty.
Can we talk about how amazing Hannah is? Chat, go for it. Praise Hannah. Dan is calling a Labour majority. Dan is an optimistic man that I can get behind. Ben is saying narrow Conservative majority. Boris shits his pants live on TV. Alien invasion Saturday afternoon, and Gary C for interim 2020 Prime Minister. I'm okay with it, with all of those things happening tonight. Oh, it's going to be incredibly tense, incredibly exciting. Hugh Davis is doing the walk and talk, talking to the pollster on a phone. Oh, it's fantastic. Aaron is going for a Labour majority as well. Aaron, you are an optimist, my friend. I'm curious, actually. You can be my Northern Ireland correspondent because I have no idea what's happening in Northern Ireland.
Well, we're about to find out what the real numbers are, and I'm here at the giant touch screen. It's been loaded with data from thousands.
Excellent. They have a giant touch screen, in case you missed that.
I should be able to predict which seats are changing hands.
I'm just outside the studio in the cold.
Oh my God, we love that. Okay, so at the moment, the BBC are showing us the outside constituency map. Oh, it's very exciting. Whenever you see that map, by the way, let me show you an example of it. So that's Joe, by the way, just walking past the frame, totally fine. So that's the constituency map of the UK. I always find it really fascinating how fat the east of England gets and how Wales basically disappears. Very sad. Love the fake street map. Yes, we do.
Where we go from here.
Throughout the night, as the results come in, I'll be speaking to an array of politicians.
Aaron is admitting that nobody in Northern Ireland is sure what is happening in Northern Ireland either. I'm really excited about it. I'm surprised. Oh my God, Laura Kunzberg is wearing a very questionable leopard print blazer, but I love it. She looks so serious.
Just seconds away from the result of the exit poll. Our first prediction of the potential outcome of this election. More than 20,000 people.
1 minute left.
Today at 144 polling stations right across the UK on behalf of the BBC.
Okay, they're about to announce the exit poll. They're about to answer.
So as Big Ben reaches 10 o'clock, we are standing by with those crucial.
Oh Christ, I'm shitting myself.
Here they are.
Oh my God. Oh my God, it's bad.
That there will be a Conservative majority.
Conservative majority with 368 seats. Labour go down to less than 200.
The Conservatives on 368 seats and Labour way down on 191. Now, on those figures, we are looking at a Conservative majority of 86 if the votes actually tally up with this prediction. And that will be the biggest majority since Margaret Thatcher's third victory back in.
So that's the end of the live stream. No. Okay. This is the exit poll.
The worst Labour
Guy,
in modern times.
this is the. Oh my God, Hugh is going into how this is the worst Labour result in modern times. 191 seats. Let me just let me fact check. Look at my really gay laptop. Okay.
On 368, that is a rise of 50 seats in this election, as suggested by the exit poll. Labour on 191, suffering.
So I am looking for.
That's a suggestion of the poll.
Lib Dems on 13, about the same. Okay, so we have Conservatives of 368. That's a majority. Labour on only 191. That's so bad. The SNP on 55. Lib Dems.
No change. The Brexit party not winning any seats according to this.
What is Jimmy saying that is making him smarter than me? That's what I want to check. Rampage imminent. Excellent. So this is looking brief. Oh, Casey is just reading me and asking Jimmy why he's so much smarter than me. Rude.
And we may even get some results within some.
I should not have made Jimmy a mod because Jimmy is like, oh, everybody, if you want to stay in chat, then Jimmy is apparently the person to butter up because he's the only mod that I have.
Reaction to this.
Laura Kumspark of reactions.
Through some of the most turbulent times any of us can remember it in time.
I love
and if
Laura
these
Kumspark.
numbers are broadly correct, Boris Johnson, who just a year ago was on the backbenches, may just have redrawn the map. On these figures, he would have clear backing on the green benches behind him to take us out of the European.
So Labour had 200. Oh my God, they would have lost if this exit poll is accurate. They would have lost 70 seats. 70 seats.
Conservatives into governing the country for more than a decade, and also seeing Labour go to a fourth defeat in a general election in a row. But this time, if these numbers are even,
that is a really good point. This is the fourth time that Labour have actually lost an election.
The SNP appear to have increased their dominance, their tight hold in Scotland. The other parties.
Okay, so what's really? I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. What's really interesting about this? I think that the biggest, the most significant thing, the SNP are up to 55 seats in Scotland. That is mad. I can't remember. Labour have. I don't think Labour have really ever. I don't know when Labour have been under 200 seats before. But what's interesting here is this drives a wedge between England and Scotland again. So in 2015, we saw, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but it was 57 seats in 2015. Lena is here. Hello, Lena. Okay, so this is kind of like, let me do my assessment of Scotland, and then I'll rally the troops and make you feel better. I promise I will make you feel better. So the SNP have kind of like shored up their dominance in Scotland, which you would think intuitively would mean that they were more likely to have an independence referendum soon. With a Conservative majority, that's not going to happen in the next 5 years, essentially. And so this result kicks Scottish independence down the road. Now, if you were a Scottish National Party voter, then this is, I mean, it's not the best thing, is it? Christ, that's a strong majority. That's the strongest of any single party in the UK since 2005. Okay, so everybody, how are we feeling with this exit poll? Real answers only. Vulcan says that IndieRef might happen because Boris is untrustworthy. He won't. They are the Conservative and Unionist Party. They won't even entertain it. They won't entertain it. Lincoln Neo. Have exit polls ever been wrong about a majority? Yeah, they have. So the 1992 exit poll called a hung parliament. Polled a hung parliament, but it ended up being a slim Conservative majority. The thing is, a majority is 325 seats. The Conservatives in this exit poll are 368 seats. It is unlikely for there to be that much of a change, that much of a difference from the Conservative majority, like it being different, the exit poll being different enough for the Conservatives to lose their majority here. We're almost definitely looking at a Conservative majority for the next government, which means that Brexit is going to happen. Okay, so this is real for me now. Hungaro, as an EU national living in the UK, not very happy. I want to give a silver lining to this, is that if you are already resident in the UK, then like, I know that Boris Johnson is untrustworthy, but as long as you're a resident before we actually leave at the end of next year, then your status should be fine. Simi is here. Hello, Simi. He was expecting Conservatives to win, but not by this much. I was also not expecting that high. The MRP poll suggested like in the 230s. And Jeremy Vine is now doing his 3D place. I was also... Dan says, and we love Dan, and we want Dan as a live commentator here. Dan says, it's not in the Tories' interest for Scottish independence to happen because then Labour will never win an election ever again, and the Tories will be in power forever. Yeah, basically, it's one of the reasons actually that it's so difficult for Labour to get a majority at the moment, because they have lost their dominance in Scotland. Scotland used to be kind of like a surefire 50 seats for them. 191 seats is tiny. This is going to be... Dan is right, Hannah. Thank you for the input, Jimmy. Emma, so yes, there is. Thank you for clarifying that. If you're an EU citizen, oh, Priti Patel is on the news looking smug. Let's see what Priti Patel has to say, who wants to murder people.
Well, I think first of all, we should all recognise that this is a projection and not an actual result. If you
She's there grinning.
said this in her opening remarks as well, we'll see the results coming through. That is the right way forward. But this has been a hard-fought general election campaign at a cold time of the year as well. We've all been out on the road. We've had amazing candidates day in, day out, taking that message out across the country.
Which is to get Brexit done.
The last 3 years, and that to move the country forward.
Pauline is like, I don't like it. I hate a lot of people, but pretty well, yes.
Do all the things that we've been speaking about as Conservatives in this general election campaign. We need a functioning Conservative majority.
Well, if you do have a majority of 80 plus, there'll be no excuse for not breaking the deadlock because you have the majority you need.
Oh, bless him. They don't really know what to ask now. What do you? Because it's. I don't want to be. Okay, let's calm down, chat. Let's not drag Priti Patel too much. I promise I will only turn up the TV if John Curtis is on. Hannah says that she's crossing her fingers that the German government approve her passport application ASAP. I'm really happy for you, Hannah, that you get to retain your European citizenship. This is just a bit shite, isn't it? I'm going to have a deep fried mince pie. Jay just asked how fast can they rush this through. So they said that they would pass the Brexit withdrawal bill by January, I believe was their deadline. Oh, great. Now all of the Germans are now going to welcome Hannah in with open arms. Where is my marriage proposal, Germany? Where is my promise of a nice, sexy German husband who is going to give me share with me his European citizenship? Ugh. So Ray Ark, you can still sort out your Spanish nationality if you're... Okay, so Mad Pumpkin is going to get on it and find me a husband. This is so comfortable as well. Priti Patel is being quite coy about how quickly they're going to push through the Brexit bill. Which is interesting. She's like the most hardcore of the hardcore. They said January beforehand. Comfort food inbound. Actually, I have some nice hummus behind me. I might just eat that. I'm going to pour myself another drink, chat. While I go and pour myself some more gin, I would encourage you to do the same. And I would like you to speculate. Here's a thought. Who do you think is going to be the next leader of the Labour Party? Or do you think that Jeremy Corbyn can't stay on after getting fewer than 200 votes, 200 seats? But who would you want as the leader of the Labour Party to combat this Conservative majority that's going to exist? I'll pause the chat. Oh, good night, Layla. Thank you for coming. That's my partner manager, Layla. Thank you, Layla. You are the best. All right, guys, I'm going to get myself a drink. You speculate on Labour leadership. Oh, very exciting. Very good. Oh, don't look at my bum as I get up, please. Thank you. Hello. And now I can't get my bloody eyes out. Majority, the ice out, the bloody ice tray. Nightmare. Nightmare. These aren't. Very. So when they are wrong, they're not wrong by so much that it's going to come to that. Oh, fuck life.
13.
Oh, hello. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Is everybody feeling the onset of existential dread? You know what? I was quite nicely distracted by the fact that I was here hosting, and then there's the pause. Oh, hello, Sally. So lovely for you to be here. Chelsea. Chelsea got served an ad on Instagram about moving to Germany. Great. Hello, Nova and Olympia. Oh, the whole family's here. You know what? This is why this was a fantastic idea. So one of my friends, one of my creators, suggested. Hello, Sienna. Suggested that I do this, and I was like, you know what? Shared existential dread is the best way of going about it. Sienna, do you want to come and say hello? No, Sienna doesn't want to say hello. This is my other flatmate. She just waved, and she's not on camera, which makes total sense. Sienna, it's a Conservative majority, probably.
No.
She says no.
Labour.
They lost, Sienna.
Oh no.
Really badly. Yes, it's Sienna Miller. People are asking Sienna. Yeah, she just flicked her hair. Beautiful. P is here as well. Oh my God, the whole crew are here. Taha was meant to be here. Taha said he would be here, but he's stuck on a train to London. Taha, don't worry, you're here with me now, and that's all I need. Oh Christ, John McDonnell is on telly.
And yet, even in these circumstances, if this poll is
Andrew Neil is now basically telling John McDonnell, the Shadow Chancellor, this should have been easy.
Well, I think Brexit has dominated everything by the looks of it. We thought other issues could cut through and there'd be a wider debate. From this evidence, it clearly wasn't. But the evidence that I got from a lot of
He's blaming Brexit. Yeah, Brexit Party were never going to get any seats. Oh Christ, this is appalling.
I think Jeremy Corbyn.
Okay, Mud Pumpkin, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. It was so kind of you to come.
Actually went through the campaign.
So seriously, how do you use that badly against a party that has been in government for 10 years and is so unpopular? I have my own speculations about this. Jeremy Corbyn is a problem, guys. Oh, he has been a problem. See you, Sally. I'll see you at the party tomorrow. Goodbye. This has now just become a social chat. Okay, guys. This may be stressful, right? This may feel like the end of the world. Hello, it isn't rigged. People voted for this. But I've actually been thinking about this in terms of kind of like, because like a conservative majority has been on the cards for a good few weeks, right? And I've been thinking about what we can actually, how to be positive about it. I'll be completely honest, I've been really numb for the past like however long. Hello, Elle. How long am I going to stream, Taha? Let's see how long it lasts. Who knows? I have kind of like become numb to a lot of this Brexit stuff. And I've kind of become a little bit numb to politics at the moment because the stakes are always so high. And I am quite, part of me is actually relieved to get on with the next step, which is us. The majority of us didn't vote for Conservative in this chat, and that's unrepresentative, but fine. But I'm quite excited for us to get to work in being the opposition to a proper Conservative majority now. And being troublemakers, disrupting, not necessarily kind of like jumping on trains and stuff, but being hyper aware of what this Conservative Party is going to end up doing. I'm super worried about some of the things that they have decided to do. If you've seen my last video, I'm super worried about some of the stuff that they're going to do in terms of constitutional reform and taking away the ability of possibly the courts to be able to hold the government to account. But we need to stay kind of like vigilant and on it and pick the battles that we're going to take. Brexit, I think, is off the table now. I think Brexit is finally lost. And that sucks. You guys know me. I'm the big Romani brains. But we need to focus on other things now, whether that is climate change, whether that is housing, getting homeless people off of the streets, reforming our education system, all of those things that we can be super useful for. Can I actually bear with me? I kind of want to suggest something, actually, something that I have been trying to do. Didn't deny that. John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn didn't deny that they would stand down in the morning. I would be very surprised if John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn didn't step down in the morning. Can I suggest something to make you feel better? Find a charity that you believe in and sign up to start volunteering for it. I just started that for the Albert Kennedy Trust, the AKT, because in the face of all of this, and in the face of all of this screaming that we've had for the past like 3 years, I needed to actually do something rather than just kind of like create content or, I don't know, partake in the echo chamber culture that we have. And I think that a way of doing that is making sure that you find somewhere where you can be useful when it comes to charities or things like that. Ray already works for a charity that's really great. Carol says that the climate is her big issue. Kit says that they were housed by Axe. They're an amazing charity. Thank you for supporting them. It's my bloody pleasure. Axe basically are a charity that work with LGBT homeless youth, because your homeless people are more likely to be LGBT than any other demographic. And people are made homeless by their families sometimes, or don't feel safe at home. And those are things that I've been affected by in the past. And so I wanted to give back to it. Jack says, it feels like for the first time in my entire political life, I really vibed with a political party. I love saying that you really vibed with it. That's how I feel about the Lib Dems most of the time. We are nerds. And now it's going to end. Labour will probably move away from socialism now. That isn't necessarily true. They still have the same. I think actually Jeremy Corbyn has done more to change the Labour Party than even Ed Miliband did, who opened up the membership to people paying such a low amount of money. I believe it's £4, right, for you to be able to get voting rights in leadership elections. Jeremy Corbyn has changed the makeup of that party, and it is going to be, for the foreseeable future, a left-leaning party. Jack, I would encourage you to make sure that your membership is up to date so that you can vote in the next leadership election, so that you can shape the future of your party and shape the next step of your party. That's another thing for you to do. Here we go. Some conservative gains. Sorry, distracted by the TV. Yeah, so as well as volunteering for a charity, join a political party. Join the one that you vibe with the most in the name of Jack Leon's. Do that tonight, because they're going to need your funding more than anything right now, to be completely honest. Katie talks about the NHS worrying her, giving I rely on them a lot due to health condition. I understand that. I would be worried as well. That is to say, I'm hoping that a lot of the scare stories are not too true. The Conservative Party have promised to put more money in. It isn't as much as it needs, but hopefully that doesn't affect your treatment, mate. I'm sorry, but dude, but you'll be fine.
I just want to show you a little bit of detail at the beginning to Dublin Law. Now, just to explain what you're seeing here is the result.
Cordelia talks about really liking Labour, and now they're going to be over. Labour isn't over. Labour goes on after. Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry, that I just saw a 60% vote share for the Conservatives, and I was like, I don't think that's correct. So Joe actually asked an interesting question in chat.
For once.
For once. I have been ignoring you.
Hello.
Joe Burke, by the way, in chat is my flatmate who's just sitting over there. Do we need to pay Trump for a checkup now? This is something that's going to be big. That's big on my radar. Is the future trade deal with whoever, right? With, be it the European Union, or be it the United States, or Canada, or Australia, or whatever. I feel like Novimpia are drunk. But the openness of the National Health Service to Donald Trump's America is something that does potentially worry me. That is going to also be contingent on how successful Trump is in the election that's happening in 2020. Oh God, we're going to have that really fun times. Oh wow, the pound has just jumped. Great. Pound is wrong. Connor talks about working with people with learning disabilities, and now that they have a majority government who have MPs who believe it's okay to pay people less than minimum wage because they don't understand money. Which is why us volunteering, those of us who have the time, the money, and the privilege to be able to actually give stuff back, we need to be volunteering that time. It sucks that it shouldn't have to fall on our shoulders, but we need to step up and fill that void, fill that gap. Matt says, I'm an American, I'm sad for you all. Thank you, Jack. I won't believe the Tories would sell the NHS. They've been in government for 28 of the last 41 years, and they know if they did try anything big, they didn't ever get in again. I mean, you say that. They made Brexit happen, and they're getting in again. Yes, Novimpia are here. Big fans. Selling off of the NHS isn't going to look like the selling off of the NHS. Just to be clear, it's going to look like the offering of contracts. So that to us, it still looks like the NHS, but it's provided by, for example, an American company. Or it's going to look like the ability for US pharmaceuticals to inflate prices of drugs and restrict the amount of drugs that we're able to import from other places that are cheaper, for example. Nonsense and glitter. I was sent to a private psychiatric hospital when I was 16 because there isn't funding to have enough NHS beds. Privatization is already happening. Yeah, like I was saying, it doesn't happen in one as selling the NHS. It's a very crude way of putting it, but it's about creep. Frankly, for me, I don't really. My thing is, I don't care how the care is provided, as long as it's provided and is good and is free. But this could end up with like a little bit of a fee here, a little bit of a fee there. We pay for prescriptions in England and Wales. You don't have to in other parts of the UK. In Scotland, you don't pay prescriptions, right? Dental used to be something that was provided by the NHS. It happens with those little creepy things. Andy, I'll have some of your chicken bites and veggie samosas, please. Thank you very much. Pia, I want to throw this out to you. To you all, chat. Actually, do you guys think that the Labour loss is because of the Corbyn, Brexit, or the general struggle of the centre-left parties in Europe? Do you think it is okay? So I'm going to rephrase this, Pia, if that's okay. Do you guys think that Corbyn was the problem, that Brexit was the problem, or do you think that him being too left-wing was the problem? Leave your answers there. Hello, Ollie. And while you're answering that, chat, I'm going to answer Lisa's question. Why did the British voting system end up like this? First past the post, which often provides unrepresentative governments of how people vote in terms of percentages. We are the first parliament, mother of all parliaments, and it was tied to locality, and it was tied to the idea of the kind of like the lord of wherever. So different constituencies were a lot more important. That locale was a lot more important. And also it has a history of providing majorities for governments as well, even though they don't have a majority of people vote for them. And so you have the kind of like idea of stability, which is kind of a bit of a fallacy, because then you end up with big tent parties like the Conservatives or the Lib Dems used to be, at least, where you have basically coalitions within a single party. But it's heritage, essentially. It's how it's been done, and it hasn't been changed for a really long time. Matita! Hey, Matita. Oh my God, the whole family really is here. I love you too. Okay, so Taha thinks it's Brexit. So I asked you guys whether it was Brexit, Corbyn, or the fact that they were too left-wing. Ella is blaming the media and the press. Interesting. I think it depends, but a lot of the press have been disproportionately unfair and biased towards Corbyn. I wouldn't extend that to the BBC actually, but that's because I'm a diehard centrist. Chelsea says Brexit with a side of Corbyn sounds yummy. Corbyn was bad at Brexit, so Ian says both. Brexit, Corbyn, Brexit. Carol says all of them. I don't know. And Lenny says it seems like Corbyn is a big factor in people not voting Labour, including his stance on Brexit. So maybe if we had like a more there is this alternate universe where Andy Burnham won the Labour leadership in 2015, where we would have had a much more staunchly pro EU person campaigning for the European Union. We would have had a much more charismatic and less problematic person leading the Labour Party. And that alternate universe is probably looks very different right now. Probably looks strong and stable. In the Netherlands, the party leader would be replaced a long time ago because of the image. They tried. So if you remember I think it was 2017. I think it was in 2016 and 2017. They tried to the members of Parliament of Labour tried to kick out Corbyn, and it didn't work because he's very popular amongst the membership. The membership is like 500,000, I believe. I believe it's 500,000 individuals. And they're very, and he is very, or has been very popular among that membership. Greg is interestingly the first person to talk about it being too much nationalisation in his proposals. I think that was a really easy rock to throw at him, actually. I'm not sure if a more moderate manifesto would have actually done very much to help Corbyn, though, to be honest. I worry that if this is an accurate result, with Labour with 191, only 191 seats, I cannot express highly enough how low that is. That is horrifically low. I would be really surprised, actually, if they maintained this hard left stance. They have the evidence now. It hasn't worked. Ray also says Corbyn being too left-wing. People saying Corbyn was the problem. Anna says that she thinks it's Brexit, but also think Labour's promises to give free broadband made it seem very false. Interesting. Free broadband was a bit. It made sense. Let's create this massive infrastructure and the public own it. I loved that policy. How can we cross over into the other parallel universe where Labour won and enacted all of their policies? That's a good question. This is interesting. What they're saying now is they're talking about Labour shadow front bench MPs already kind of like thinking about positioning themselves for the leadership. So that's something to look out for over the next few hours. Taha makes a really good point. Aaron also thinks that universal broadband was a good idea as well. Great minds. Taha says, "Get Brexit Done" is an incredibly compelling campaign. Capitalizes on political apathy and exhaustion, which is definitely the heartbeat of politics in the last 3 years. Taha, where is your think piece? I've even talked about this on the podcast and in my videos. I've talked about how compelling Get Brexit Done is. I'd quite like to get Brexit done. Interestingly, I had a Freudian slip when I talked about it in my video. Instead of repeating Get Brexit Done, I said Stop Brexit, which is the Lib Dem manifesto pledge. But regardless, both of those eventualities stop Brexit. I just wanted it to stop. So Novimpia have ended up being the troll contributors to the chat, saying that they voted for the Hilda Spellman Party because their manifesto said party. It's nice that we're gonna need humor in the next few years, aren't we, girls? So we may as well lean in. Anisha hates Taha because Taha is right. Taha is always right, apart from when I say he's wrong. Hello, Sketch and Sound. Thank you for coming. I just really want to know how this was distributed now. I also want to know whether or not Jo Swinson lost her seat. Can I ask you a question, chat? What were your guys' thoughts on the Lib Dems this election? They started really, really strong. Nisha, I'm joking. They started off, it seemed really strong off the back of coming second in the European elections. Helen was not impressed. If the SNP have 55, she must have lost it. How many seats are there in Scotland? Oh, Jimmy's like, poor Lib Dems RIP. See, the thing is, Jimmy is a curious beast because he is a Liberal Democrat at heart, but also a Brexiteer. How many constituencies in Scotland autocomplete? So there are 59. There are 59 seats in Scotland. So it is possible that not Nicola Sturgeon. It is possible that Jo Swinson has kept her seat. The Lib Dems became a one-policy party of anti-Brexit. I think that you're right, Martin. Kathy and Craig already told me how many seats there were, so I didn't need to Google it. Thanks, chat. You're better than Google. Oh my God, there are so many people just hanging out at the BBC Centre. That's great. That's such an interesting thing to bear in mind as well. London offers up 73 members of parliament, which is crazy. It's the largest of largest of any of the regions that we have. I think apart from Yorkshire, maybe. Taha, can you stop using my chat to promote your Twitter, please? Thank you. The fact that Labour MPs who hate Corbyn don't shut their mouths about it during the campaign definitely didn't help. I thought they were actually quite disciplined, actually. I thought it went reasonably well.
Do you think that they'll get 200? Do you think that there'll be enough of a margin to get 200 and then Jeremy stay?
So Joe has just asked a question out of chat, IRL. You don't have to. He's real. I don't just have voices in my head. Joe just asked if Labour got over 200, would Jeremy Corbyn still stay? I doubt it. He's had 2 elections and he's not won both of them. This is the 4th election that Labour have lost.
If you look at his posts as well, they haven't aged very well in the past 2 hours.
What does it say? That feeling when you wake up to a Labour government tomorrow. And the caption says, that feeling when you wake up to a Labour government tomorrow. That was never going to happen, Jez. Let's be fair. Oh, bless them. So Hannah has asked how long it takes for the UK to get actual numbers and calculations of results, not just the exit polls. We're not going to know final vote until probably 5 or 6 a.m. really. Seats will start coming in at like 1 o'clock. And then there's going to be like they really start coming in from 3 p.m. Estelle says, Corbyn's gone. I have a poster of him in my bedroom. Oh, bless. That's so adorable.
One Labour, one Conservative, you voted Labour. Surprised? Not really, no, I was disappointed.
So Ella talking about compassion.
Based on that, it would be a Conservative winner. Were you expecting that? I was expecting it. I'm overwhelmingly happy because as a British student, my community is no longer on the front line. We can get Brexit done, and we put forward good, strong Conservative policies. I'll tell you what we have to get done now, because this map is laid out.
Well, okay. That was a robot on TV. Sorry. Cordelia. Okay, this is now becoming a bidding chat for Estelle's Corbyn poster. Cordelia is in there. We all want for the poster. Bear with chat. Just catching up. Serena didn't buy booze. The local co-op will still be open, won't it? Oh, Cordelia, I may not be sobbing, but I am dying inside. And all of the chat are here hugging you. Don't you worry, mate. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning. Cliche, but kind of true. Novimpia continuing to be the trolls of the chat. Love you. Saying that they used to have a Hanson poster. So we will start bidding for Estelle's Corbyn poster and Novimpia's Hanson poster, starting now. Oh, Andy has a good point. If you want to get booze, probably stop selling it at 11 p.m. So get up there. Quick. Martin is not the beginning of the end. This is not the first time in the last few years that the Conservatives have gotten a majority. Loot, I think that you're probably right there. Plaid only getting, with big Labour losses and Plaid only getting 3 seats in Wales. It's probably big Conservative majorities in North Wales. Just kind of depressing. Labour has failed the people that it actually was founded to protect. The Labour movement, actually. The industrial North, North Wales, Scotland, none of them vote Labour anymore. It's an industrial party. It used to be an industrial party, and now it's an intellectual party. I was going to talk about compassion, Rebecca. I'm sorry. I think it's important to bear in mind that the people who vote certain ways do not have all of these things front of mind all of the time. So you and I may be thinking about kind of like the consequences of policy, be reading the news about kind of like being the NHS being stretched and the likes of that. But some people are literally just going into the polling booth with one question in their mind. And if what they have heard is get Brexit done again and again and again, they just want all of this craziness to end. And so they'll just make it end. They're not really thinking about any of the other nuances of policy. That doesn't mean that they're not compassionate. It means that it's not on their plate. It's not their thing. And there are plenty of people from impoverished backgrounds. In fact, a large number of people from impoverished backgrounds voted for Brexit because it was a chance to just fuck shit up, throw over the apple cart, right? Lucas asked who I voted for. I voted Green in a safe Labour seat. Elle, talking about your family being from Birmingham and used to vote Labour, and now they haven't for years. Elle, who have they voted for recently? Andy, free broadband would have helped generate jobs. Actually, it requires upskilling of people and training of people, but providing that as a resource can allow people to start their own businesses. It can allow people to partake in the digital economy easier. You know, and they've been. And Elle says that her family from Birmingham have been voting Conservative. Yeah. Elle, can you go? Sorry, this has now become an interview with Elle in the chat. Elle, what is the reason for not voting Labour anymore? What are the what's kind of like the reason behind that? Mm-hmm.
Using a website or use app. There is a huge amount of data on there.
Connor, you're really lucky actually to have to be in a safe Labour seat and have the MP come out and canvass. I live in Lynn Brown's constituency. I have never once seen her, and it's something that I kind of hold against her quite a lot. It's one of the reasons that it would be so hard for me to actually vote for her. I just don't see her active in our local community whatsoever, at least in my local community. I'm sure she is incredibly active in other parts of West Ham, but So, Elle, I hope if you don't want to talk about this, then let me know. But I'm really curious. So Elle says that her family stopped voting Labour. They're from Birmingham, working class. They stopped voting Labour because Labour no longer stood for what it originally stands for, what it originally stood for. She then says that my family are from working class backgrounds and would always vote Labour. Twitter trending goodbye NHS. Great, thanks Twitter. Fantastic. I am going to rely on you guys for Twitter updates and off platform updates, if that's okay. Please let me know in the chat. Elle, what is it about? Why did they end up pivoting to the Conservatives rather than any of the other parties? I'm surprised that they didn't end up voting UKIP, for example. Is often somewhere where kind of like working class exit poll predicts huge majority for Johnson. They're doing all of the newspapers.
This is an unconventional
My family is in Lincoln in the same situation as Elle, but also very Brexit. So to them, nothing else matters. So this was the thing. I think that Brexit was seen as an ailment to all, as a cure for all ailments, and it was sold as that. And actually, you can kind of understand why, if you have been asked a question by the metropolitan political elite down in London, who you never see, who you never engage with, you're just like they're all the bloody same. If you've been asked a question and you give them the question, and then there's 3 years of differing about how to execute that question, then you can understand the frustration there and why, rather than thinking about people's lack of compassion, people voting Conservative, just to be like, I told you, tell them again, essentially. So Elle is saying that her family did originally vote UKIP and then this year voted Conservative. And her family is very Brexit. This is so. I have some action items for you. Action item 1 is find a charity and volunteer. Find a charity you believe in and volunteer for it. I recently started volunteering at AKT, ACT, the LGBT homelessness charity. I would encourage you to find something to pour yourself into. Secondly, join a political party. They're going to need resources and they're going to need help if they're going to be in opposition for the next few years. And thirdly, off the back of what Felix said, I think I'm going to avoid Twitter the next few days. And he'd recommend that other people did too. Get the hell off social media. Enjoy Christmas. Enjoy your family. Enjoy some time away. If you don't celebrate anything, I don't know, work your way for a good book. Recharge. We're going to need to be strong. Lucas has an interesting question, and I'd be interested to... Mars says Indie Ref 2. Not anytime soon, mate. It won't be granted. I wonder if there's going to be... if there will be consequences to that in Scotland, actually, outside of just voting, whether there will be protests. Anyway, Lucas said that when Theresa May stepped down, do you think that the media unfairly attacked her, that she failed the job because she was a woman? Yes, I do. When you look at the quality of the deal that Boris Johnson has, it is the same as Theresa May's deal. And actually, objectively, it's kind of worse. It separates the mainland of the United Kingdom from Northern Ireland in a way that is so inconsiderate of the history of Northern Ireland and why the alignment with the UK is so important. Nigel Farage is on the telly.
That's the important thing. I mean, look, we're a new party. We've got no councillors. We've got no base.
It's a party. You're over as a party.
Well, I tell you what, if we get Brexit, given that it was in the weeds back in February of this year, and we set this thing up, we put it back on track. If we get there, we've done a good job.
Theresa May was a victim of a glass
in this
cliff.
election, we would use our influence to stop a second referendum. And that overwhelmingly was behind the decision to stand down in 317 seats. And Jo Swinson herself has said that effectively that poll axed her campaign. And then taking the flag to Labour was important, because what you're going to see tonight are dozens of seats that the Conservatives are either going to win or come very
I'm sorry, guys. I do want to hear what he has to say. I'm so sorry.
Yes, of course. No, I want that out. Of course.
I'm watching the BBC. Just watching the BBC.
It's full steam ahead to
Turn up the telly. Okay, hold on.
Yes, but I would prefer that to a second referendum. That would be agony.
But you've also said it's not really Brexit. You told me
I think
in a
it'll be-
Leader's interview that when it comes
I
to
like Andrew Neil's an absolute
you would go
nightmare,
against
but
If
what fun!
the current treaty
I love it when he beats up a politician I don't like.
passes unamended.
Thanks, Anne.
I can't bring myself to support it. Look, I've spent my political career trying to get Brexit. All right.
Elle, I'm going to talk to you about family voting differently to you in a second.
It's a deal that you don't support. You haven't got a single seat, and your party has no purpose now.
But I killed the Liberal Democrats and I hurt the Labour.
But that wasn't your purpose.
I killed the Liberal Democrats and I hurt the Labour Party.
If we get half a loaf out of it, well, that's what we've achieved.
Is it time for you now to step down from politics?
Let's see where we are in 6 months.
Oh, he's not going to...
6 months,
Oh.
I'll have to put my hat back in the ring, won't I? I did it this year, I think fairly effectively. Let's see.
It's a bit like Groundhog Day for you, though.
Do you know, I'm much happier seeing the exit poll where it is than seeing a
He has no seats. Why is he? He is Taha. He is the leader of the party that won the European elections. It's fair that he's interviewed. It's fair that he's interviewed this early on, as well, so that we all forget about it. Interestingly, fun fact chat is that Nigel Farage is the same age as who's the really attractive guy who was married to Angelina Jolie? Brad Pitt. I forgot what Brad Pitt's name was. Nigel Farage is the same age as Brad Pitt. No, Vimpia think that I've had filler in my lips. Are you? No, I'm just this beautiful. Just catching up on chat, guys. Ah, Elle, I was going to talk to you about I was gonna talk to you about voting differently to your family. Obviously, this is really. I always like count it as a really positive thing that I grew up in a family that had a huge. Everyone at some point has voted for every party. So my granddad was heavy, kind of like Brexit. My uncle has voted BNP before. My mum is probably a Green voter. My dad has gone from Conservative to Lib Dem. My brother and I have been like Labour, Lib Dem voters. And so in order for us to get on, we kind of had to like each other because of the arguments, not despite of the arguments and the political debate that we had. Now, it may very well be different for you, but find kind of like an ally who you think that you can have a debate with. It is, and I want like the video that I made with my granddad. It is really very possible. Taha, you can call me. Taha, you can come on in a minute. But it is very possible for you to be able to have a contentious relationship with members of your family, to disagree publicly in front of one another, and to still really love each other. Honestly, I've managed to do it, and it will sometimes be hard, and sometimes you won't want to. So don't pick that fight. It doesn't have to be an argument. It can be an exchange of ideas, right? Yeah, Carol talking about like having a huge amount of anxiety with arguments, and I understand that. Like it gets easier. You know your limits, right? And it's like, shall we just switch the UK on and off again? Find the plug on the channel tunnel and just go. You need to know what your boundaries are. When we're talking about kind of like anxiety, you need to know what your boundaries are. So, one sec. Taha is texting me. Bear with. Off and on again sounds like a plan. Excellent. We'll drink to that. Everybody take a drink of your tea or your alcoholic beverage. So we may have a special guest, Taha Khan, on the phone in a bit, if he answers the call. Reset the UK's broadband. See, it would have been so much better and easier for us to reset the UK's broadband had we a Labour majority. However, not the case, and we will be fine. We will be fine. Still got a whole grapefruit behind me. Rice cooker. Butter. I'm just going through all of my appliances now. So I'm guessing it's Olympia who is asking why I haven't called for your political correspondence. I would love for your input, actually. If you want to message me, I would love to have your input. Okay, guys, I'm lining up some hashtag content. Rachel, who's winning? Great question. We have no results yet, but we do have a predicted exit poll. Grapefruit. Oh, but grapefruit and gin. gorgeous. Lincoln Neo, thank you for updating the chat. Very kind. So you know what? I'm looking at Demeter's comment about UKIP being like deliberately divisive. And actually, I think they filled a really important void for Labour voters and some Conservative voters who felt ignored hugely on the immigration question and xenophobia. They doubled down on xenophobia quite a lot. But also from what we were saying earlier about Elle's family, them not being, Labour not being kind of like a Labour party anymore, a party for actually working people. God knows that especially the Blair years didn't feel like a working class revolt, right? It was quite haughty-taughty middle class. It was quite liberal elite. And that's why a lot of that shit sticks, to be honest. And I think that UKIP entered into a space left by a lot of the Labour Party and a metropolitan Conservative Party. God, I remember when everybody was trying to be really metropolitan. That hasn't really lasted very well, has it? Oh, there isn't just, so people are asking about the mixer. So it isn't just grapefruit and gin. It is in fact grapefruit, gin, and Waitrose own lemon zest tonic water, which is very nice. I'm actually going to top myself off a little bit. Here, chat, continue to hug and be kind to one another. Hugs. BRB. Again, don't look at my ass when I get up, you filthy animals.
Hamza, it's good of you to join us, and thanks very much. We'll see how the exit poll pans out and how the results come in as well. Thanks very much for the and we'll be keeping a very close eye on what's going on. We were talking about Labour's red wall, so to speak. This is the kind of network of traditional Labour seats.
Your parent, what's happening? Oh, what's she saying? She's well. She went to I really don't want any more of these mince pies. Your family, she's a lot younger. She's younger than she should be for saying. I can't go any lower. Didn't really work. So just going up the stairs. Oh, hello. Je suis revenu.
Glückig ja. Is that German? Ooh. I'll tell you what, that gin's gone to my head now. It's quite fun. Might turn this into an Ask Me Anything. Dora, where are you from? Dora says that she's not from the UK and feels as if nobody takes Boris seriously here. So these predictions are just bizarre to me. Really feeling for all of you. Thank you, Dora. Dora, where are you from? Out of question. How long am I on for, Novimpia? Who knows? We'll see. I might wait for the first couple of seats and then see how we go from there. I'll be completely honest. Why all the Dutch neuken in de keuken? Yes. Ik geen split Nederlands. Those are the only two things that I can say in Dutch. They're predicting Bolsover to be blue. Oh, God.
There's two different votes happening here, two different counts, two different constituencies. The rural Calder Valley constituency, that was the one we thought we would be watching tonight. It's criminally conservative, only 600 votes in it for the last election, and it was really heavily targeted by Labour. But that exit poll today.
Oh, you can see all of the
To the other side of
people with Conservative rosettes on in the counting stations, looking so happy. I wonder what that feels like. See, as a Lib Dem, I'm never going to know what it's like to have a majority. I can only pontificate.
Certainly a big shock for everybody in this area. Perhaps not when you look at
Dora is yet another representative of the great nation of Germany, and says that maybe it's her own left-wing bubble, but German media don't seem to like him. I think that's reasonably universal. I don't think it's just a German media thing.
potentially about to change tonight. This is a slow vote. The young people walking in with the ballot boxes here are wandering in West Europe.
The Guardian is talking about the Tories losing all 12 of their Scottish seats. Jesus. 55 SNP, mate. Rachel's asking, who do I think will win? We've got the exit poll. It's like Conservatives will win. I want to see this national vote split, actually. We don't have that yet.
Some reactions also coming in from other Labour figures, including Caroline Flint, the MP outgoing for
Grace, I actually have I have a similar experience to you. So Grace talked about during the Labour years, she just went along with her Tory parents, and then as soon as I was old enough to vote them out, the Tories have been in power, and I have pretty much the same experience. Although I did have the coalition government where the Lib Dems were in government, the halcyon days. I bet you all wish that was still the bloody case, won't you? Anna Soubry being biting, saying that the election was called by Labour and the Lib Dems, who chose an election over a people's vote. And I think there might be some truth to that. They chose to back an election rather than force Boris Johnson to take his deal to the people. And we fluffed it, guys. Do you think that's true? Do you think that that's a legitimate thing to hear from Anna Soubry? Look, I'm so slouched. I'm on my third G&T, to be honest, and they are strong. What do I think about the Reunion Boys? I loved the Reunion Boys. We did an episode on them for the Right Dishonourable podcast. What role does... Okay, so Pia's asking, because they're not from the UK. How do the SNP play into this? What are their policies? Is it good that they got so many seats? It depends, mate. So the SNP are the Scottish nationalists. They want an independent Scotland. Few people outside of Scotland want there to be an independent Scotland. A minority, but a significant minority of people within Scotland at the moment, if you believe polling, want an independent Scotland to Scotland. Right, Ray is looking after me and saying that I should drink some water. Thank you for looking after me. I will endeavour to stay hydrated. I won't get too drunk on this live stream. Don't worry. The SNP tend to be, they're kind of like quite centre lefty. They're quite we would call them Blairite, but if you're not in UK politics, you probably won't really understand that. Oh, they're getting out all of the people, all of the Conservative politicians that I hate. Yeah, so actually, Ian's making a good point. The SNP also are pro-EU as well. So they're one of the pro-EU parties that would have preferred the UK to stay in the European Union. I'm really curious. So Hunty brings up a good point. So there are two, we'd call them Conservative Party grandees, like old hats from the Conservative Party, people who are really well respected. Hunty mentioned Major and Heseltine. Major was the Prime Minister from 91 to 97, I think. He won in 92 and then was beaten by Blair in 1997. Heseltine was basically a really big power player in the Conservative Party during Margaret Thatcher's reign. Massive hair. My dad loves him. They called him Tarzan because he had big hair, and apparently Tarzan has big hair. I don't really know how it works. But they are two of kind of like the really core part, two really well-respected members of the Conservative Party, old hands, old hats, and neither of them voted for Boris Johnson. So is this even their Conservative Party anymore? Where do they go? Where did the likes of Major and Heseltine go? The Lib Dems with 13 seats? If you haven't got power, what's the point? God, that is a bit shite for the Lib Dems, isn't it? Louis says that they're back and crying and he's going to get arseholed tomorrow. I heartily endorse this conclusion. If this good result for the SNP, can they do something? Will they get independence? Demeter, I'm happy to let you know my take on the Scottish National Party. An independence referendum by convention has to be granted by the central government in Westminster, which is now probably going to be run by the Conservative Party. The SNP are going to say that this is enough for them to legitimise having another referendum on Scottish independence. Scottish independence was first voted on by the Scottish people in 2014, and it was 54% voted to stay as part of the United Kingdom. Oh, cool. Grace had a Major as their old MP. I really like John Major. However, the Conservatives' full name, as Theresa May loved to used to tell people, Theresa May's full name was the Conservatives' full name is the Conservative and Unionist Party. The Conservative Party are not going to grant the Scottish National Party a referendum anytime soon. And so this will buoy the case for independence, but it by no means guarantees a next step for independence for them, and probably actually stalls it because of the Conservative majority. Linker, thank you for the Twitter updates. The Conservatives have tweeted, make no mistake, get Brexit done. It does make me think, what are they going to rely on when they get past these slogans? When they actually have to create policy?
When are they going to turn off the bot that does that tweet?
Yeah, the auto bot that does the get Brexit done tweet. So Ian suggests, I'm guessing you're talking about a Scottish referendum. If it does happen, then it will definitely lead to independence. A major focus on the Better Together campaign was saying in the EU. Actually, it looks like the Scottish people are less inclined to vote for independence, or have been less inclined since we voted to leave the European Union. So you may think like that. You may think that it means that they are more likely to vote to leave, but they're voting on other things other than just kind of like the Scottish, Scotland being part of the European Union. I think that's a very metropolitan liberal elite way of talking about it. Lucas asks me for my opinion. Oh, I hate to give my opinion. Lucas says, do you believe in Scottish independence, and do you think that if they gain independence, it will be the dissolution of the UK and Great Britain? I mean, like, inevitably. It will be the dissolution of the UK as we know it. And that's in jeopardy already because of Boris Johnson's Brexit deal. Because frankly, not very many English people really consider Northern Ireland as a proper part of the United Kingdom, which is problematic. For many, many reasons. Do I believe in Scottish independence? It's not for me to decide. I am English. But you know what? I would love to be given the opportunity to completely, like, I love the idea of nation building. And so I'd 100% be into, if I was Scottish, I'd probably want Scottish independence. And I'm aware of that. Sorry, Novimpia, the troll channel that is in the chat, are correcting me and making sure that I pronounce it correctly, and it's pronounced Brexit. Chloe's quite unforgiving. Oh, are we getting our first?
So we will now be carrying that out in the hall here this evening. We will do it as quickly as we can, and thank you very much indeed.
So it's not a full recount, vote by vote. It's important to say that. So it's not going to take ages. It's a bundle recount, as the returning officer said. And I have two guests with me who know all about counts, the former Labour MP Kate Hoey and the former Conservative MP and Cabinet Minister Justine Greening. Thank you both for joining us.
Justine
we're waiting for
Greening.
Live Valley to come in, and I suppose the former Labour MP Kate, I start with you and say, for Labour to be in a position where it's considering even a Conservative wing of Live Valley, what does that tell us?
Oh my God, it is there. Novimpia literally said the Tories did tweet a graphic that said "Get Brexit done." I think it's actually shit posting. It's deliberately posting stuff incorrectly. I saw the Conservative Party also tweet earlier a graphic in Comic Sans, and that's deliberate. Oh, sorry, there was a recount. Sorry, Jimmy. I keep on being ADHD'd into other places. Oh, you know what's really sad? I've just noticed something in my window. I did demand better. And now I'm sad. Oh, fuck my life. All we can do is clip in and go, we. Right, what's occurring, chat? Linka just made a very astute observation that I distracted myself while talking about being distracted. I am the worst. I am the worst. What actually was I talking about? Help! It's a lovely sunny colour, isn't it? Okay. At least I look good. Thank. Noah's here. Oh, Noah's here. That makes me so happy. More gin, it makes everything better. Elle, I'm so glad you're still here, mate. Thank you for enduring the grilling. For anybody who's relatively new, I was asking Elle about her relationship with her family earlier via the chat, which is definitely appropriate. Oh, Hunty's here bragging about his Irish passport, just like Hannah Bloody Witten saying, oh, I hope that the German government gives me my passport. La, 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 la. I'm very happy for all of you with dual citizenship, but some of us are going to have to sit on this wet island and sit and persist. Love you, Elle. So Lisa says that if Scotland were to leave the European Union, the UK, and then try and join the European Union, they'd have to apply as a new nation. That is fair. That is also probably what would be the case now that the UK is almost definitely going to leave the European Union. If we were to re-enter, we wouldn't be able to enter on the same terms. We'd have to apply as a new nation. So goodbye to all of those things that Margaret Thatcher negotiated for so many years. Linka said, somebody yesterday told me that if I didn't like Brexit, I should leave Britain. And they didn't really get that Brexit would take away the ability to do that. Isn't it wonderful irony? Actually, them voting for Brexit has made it harder for us liberal metropolitan elites to leave. And so they're stuck with us. So Taha is going to be approximately 20 minutes. What a legend. Connor is also, so Hunty and Connor, you two can have a lovely time talking about your Irish passports and how your European citizenship is going to remain intact. I'm so happy for you. I'm not bitter. I will second Pia's suggestion of willing to agree to a fake marriage with any of you from the EU to get a German or an EU passport or anything. Anyone with an Irish passport? Fans? Actually, no. You can't just marry somebody for an Irish passport. Oh!
Notice that the total number of votes for each candidate
Newcastle.
for the Newcastle
First.
upon Tyne
Newcastle upon Tyne.
constituency
First result.
is as follows. Syed Ali Abbey, also known as
It's a safe
Ali
legacy.
Abbey, 2,709.
Very good.
Mark Frederick Glenn Griffin, Brexit Party, 2,500.
Lib Dems beat the Brexit Party. I'm happy with that.
Chinyela Susan Unwura, also known as Chi Unwura, 21,568. Emily Victoria Payne, the Conservative candidate, 9,200.
Okay, so Labour hold. Yeah, obviously.
Tamar Jem Pittman,
Okay, so the
also
first.
known as
I look a little stressed. I am a little stressed.
1,365. And that Chi Unwura has been duly elected
to serve as member for said constituency.
So there's our first result of this general election.
First result of the night.
26 minutes past 11 at night.
That's so bloody quick. They counted that in under an hour and a half. Oh, what's she going to say?
What she has to say.
By thanking the returning officer for her excellent work. And
Can you guys hear this, by the way?
police who have maintained our safety and security, and the amazing teams of Newcastle employees here and also in all the polling stations across Newcastle who have done such fantastic work to get us here. And I believe I am the first MP to be declared. Is that right? So for the moment,
Looks
the
like
entire
Taha is going to be here in
Parliament
person.
is
Very exciting.
Gian Murray there giving her response to the win there in Newcastle upon Giant Sense. So let's go to Sunderland.
Sunderland are now calling, declaring.
That the total number of votes for each candidate for the Horton and Sunderland South constituency is as follows. Richard Peter Bradley, Green Party, 1,125. Paul Edgeworth, Liberal Democrat, 2,319.
Sunderland calling.
Richard Elvin, UKIP, 890.
Oh, how novel. UKIP standing.
Christopher John Charles Howarth, the Conservative Party, 13,095.
Oh my god, he looks like a snake or a changeling or something, the
Richard
Conservative
J.
candidate.
Phillipson, Labour Party, 16,210.
She's got great hair.
Kevin
It really does feel like
Newell,
Eurovision.
Brexit Party, 6,165.
I think that
Richard J. Phillipson has been duly elected to serve as member for the said constituency.
So there we have the Sunderland result going in, and a win for Labour, but on a much reduced majority.
there was a reduced majority there. There was a huge split out to the Brexit Party.
And it is in line with the exit poll. She will be thanking the returning officer and everyone who's been.
Oh, Joel and Lee are here!
To see whether she says something about.
And you thought that it was the Elton John therapy session. Excellent. Well, it may as well be. Gay man. Everyone in Sunderland is called Richard. Yes, that's it. I didn't manage to get a thank you for checking, Pia. I didn't manage to get tickets for Eurovision. I was in the queue and then it said that I was unsuccessful, which is very sad, but I'm going to try again in January. Ah, hello, Mochi. Konnichiwa. Gozaimasu. Oh, the Blythe Valley.
I, Kelly Angus, acting returning officer for the Blythe Valley constituency, declare that
They're in
the total
Northumberland.
number of votes given to each candidate was as follows.
Okay.
Tom
Northumberland
Chapman,
calling.
Liberal Democrats,
Oh, he's nice.
2,151.
Oh, he's nice and young, the
Susan
cute you Lib
Elizabeth
Dem.
Dunworth, Labour and Cooperative Party, 16,728.
Oh, she's got great hair as well. Labour candidate so far, fantastic hair.
Green Party, 1,000.
Labour, Toothpaw. Exactly, Lisa.
Ian Levy, the Conservative Party candidate, 17,000.
Jesus.
Ian Levy, the Conservative Party candidate, 17,440. Mark Pert, Brexit Party, 3,000.
So Blythe Valley was a likely Labour seat in the MRP poll for
The total
YouGov?
number of ballot papers rejected was 94.
Likely Labour. That is like a.
There's no question about it at all. This is the Conservative Party taking the former mining constituency of Blythe Valley from Labour.
Holy shit!
Conservatives on a majority of 712, so not a big majority, on a turnout of 63%, but that is a very significant pointer to what's likely to happen according to the exit poll as we go through the night. This is Labour losing one of its traditional heartland seats. It's been in Labour hands since 1950. It's on the Northumberland coast, and as I say, held for many years by Ronnie Campbell.
Christ, it is bad.
Himself, a great Leave campaigner, but succeeded by Susan Dunworth, the local councillor, and now this man, Ian Levy, has won. Let's listen to what he has to say after this remarkable.
Must we? Thanks for the Thorgy quote, Novimpia.
Thank you. Could I say thank you to Blythe Valley? This is a huge responsibility that I took on this evening.
Oh, gross.
But it is a
Grace,
massive,
yeah, go to bed. If you've got to work with many
massive-
sad people tomorrow, Grace, keep on doing
fabulous
God's work.
I would like to thank the police.
In 2017, Blythe Valley was 55% Labour.
My agent, Richard Weirmouth, who has been marvellous throughout the campaign. I'd like to thank my team, who worked really hard, and also
This naked mole rat has no charisma.
And to Connor, who's worked really hard for me. Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Most of all, I would like to thank the people of Blythe Valley, because if the people of Blythe Valley hadn't voted, I would.
Chelsea, I'm sorry, I think Wrexham's going blue.
Finally, I would like to thank my wife Maureen, my children Andrew and Alice,
Now is
and I would like to thank Boris, because
oh fuck off.
I would say that I'm going to be on that train on Monday. I'm going to London. We're going to get Brexit done, and we are going to build a strong economy for the UK. We're going to do that together. Thank you, Blythe Valley.
There's the message from Ian Levy and the supporters.
How did they find the least charismatic person in the whole of Northumberland
Traditional Labour seat,
to beat the lady with the great hair?
For the first time, this is Blythe Valley in Northumberland. A quick word from Laura with me.
Just fascinating to see. He could hardly believe it, and also his voice cracking with this sort of emotion, aware actually of this. You know, this is a symbolic moment in this night. We're very early doors. A lot could change.
Okay. Well, you know what? The exit poll was to be fair, it was more sober then. But the exit poll kind of like was normal for me. You know, I was like, you know what? Let's like keep going. Yay, fun. Oh, it feels so real now. Ugh. Thank you, Boris. Yes, Novimpia, can you please do a free show for us, please? Now, if you could. Ugh, gross. So Olympia is tweeting me at the moment, so that's nice. Thank you. What have you got there? That's nice. Excellent. I'm just going to retweet that. This is very important. Just going to retweet some things. Hold on. Bear with. Oh my God, Andy's tweeting about us as well. join the whaling. All right, guys, give me a second. I'm just gonna do a toilet break. Oh, Novimpia is gonna tell Novimpia you're now in charge. Actually, you know what? Can I make you a? Okay, I'm gonna regret this. Novimpia is now a moderator. May chaos reign. I'm gonna do a little bit of a toilet break, a little bit of a self-care break. It's mainly me relieving my bladder. But I will see you guys in a second, all right? Bear with me. I'll be right back. We're going to continue this crazy ride together in a second. Oh, Felix, it was nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Excellent. BRB. Oh. Are you just going to drink beer in bed?
No. Not yet.
Uh-huh.
Although I feel like it.
What am I doing? This is a very serious. I just wiggled my bum.
You staying up till 5 a.m.
It looks like it. It looks like it. Instant regret. I'll be back in a second. Hello. Ugh. I'm back. What did I miss? Right. Envious of my worktop lights. My kitchen, your kitchen doesn't have any. Oh, such a shame. I love that you've just been discussing my decor. So what have I missed? Scrolling up. Oh, no, Vimbia have promised a free show of them performing Going Under by Evanescence. Right. So guys, this is a bit shit, isn't it? However, we have a 3-step plan. 1, fitting song, yes indeed, Aaron. The first one is find a charity locally where you can volunteer. That is a place where you can make a difference, and it is a place where you are able to put all of your energy that you are going to need over the next few years into and be useful. Feeling useful in the next few years is going to be important. Secondly, join a party. The Labour Party are almost definitely going to be having a leadership election in the next few months. If you are inclined to be a member of the Labour Party and you want to shape I came up with this plan on the toilet. Yes, I did. If you are the kind of person who is inclined towards the Labour Party, then you can have a say in the leadership of that party going forward. Make sure that your voice is heard there. Thirdly, for Christ's sake, look after yourself and get off social media for a couple of days. Have some drinks with friends, and make yourself stronger for the new year. That's our 3-step plan. Novimpia are asking what the figures are for the exit poll. It's 145 seats, and I think 20,000 people, and they extrapolate from there. So this is an assumption, but the exit poll is unlikely to be incorrect for such a strong Conservative majority. It is unlikely that the exit poll is going to get that wrong. So we're almost definitely looking at a Conservative majority for those of you who have joined recently. Spidder, yeah, it's 20,000 from 144 polling stations. Thank you, Spidder. Reent says that the exit poll is based on just a few people and then some clever number crunching. Yes, but they are like the ranking here of the Conservatives having a majority. That's unlikely to change. David's here. Hello, David Levitt. It doesn't mean I'm moving, although the temptation is high. Let's be real. It does mean that I'm drinking my lovely, lovely gin, though. So Pia and Ian are having a conversation about whether or not this government is actually going to last longer than the last ones. Obviously, we've had really quick turnarounds when it has come to governments in the last few years. Since 2015, we saw David Cameron step down as Prime Minister. We saw Theresa May call an election and her lose her majority, and then obviously this one. This is likely with a majority like that, with a majority of, I think they've done the maths that we're assuming from the exit poll of like 80 seats. That's enough stability. That's about the kind of majority that Labour had in their final term when they won the vote in 2005. And obviously they won a full 5-year term there. Andy reckons it will be at least 4 years with this majority. What is interesting, actually, is that the Conservatives have said that they would intend to remove the Fixed Term Parliament Act. So they will call an election whenever they feel strongest. We may see an election. So, for example, the Labour Party won a huge landslide in 1997 and then decided to go to the polls in 2001. So it was like 4 years after they won the election in 2001. And then they did another 4 years. They called an earlier election in 2005 as well. It is likely that they could call one earlier than the next 5 years, to be honest. So Demeter has asked, can anybody tell me if the Tories that were kicked out of the party by Boris are already let back in or replaced? We don't know their seats yet. We don't know what that is going to look like for the new for the old Conservative Party members who didn't back Boris. They did have a thing where everybody who was standing as a Conservative candidate ended up signing a pledge to support Boris's Brexit plan, as an example. So it is unlikely that he's not going to be able to pass that, for example. However, a lot of the people who ended up leaving the Conservative Party ended up deciding not to run again. So we've lost a lot of those what we would call moderate members of Parliament, and so they aren't in the picture anymore. Dementer. Boris not winning Uxbridge and South Russell, it would be funny. It would be funny. It's also quite unlikely. Hello, Laura. Laura is here, my darling. And Daniel's here as well. Dan, hello. Oh, good. I'm very glad to be in the background whilst you do a little bit of editing. Happy to be here distracting you from your work. Very good. Sophia has asked, is there anything I can do as someone too young to vote to help with the state of the country? I feel really helpless. I want to go back to my 3-step plan. My 3-step plan is, and the first one is probably something to help you feel less helpless, is to volunteer at a charity that you believe in. I did this week, actually. I decided to start volunteering at ACT, AKT, who deal with LGBT, who work with LGBT homeless. Which is something that is close to my heart. I would recommend that you guys find a charity locally that you believe in and lend them your time, because they aren't going to have a huge amount of funding with a Conservative government. And those of us who have the privilege to have enough time to be able to invest in stuff like volunteering, we should do that and help carry. We have strong shoulders. Those of us with that privilege have those strong shoulders that can help them shoulder that burden. So I'd recommend you do that. Also, Sophia, I would recommend you joining. You may be too young to join a party, but you can still be involved in party politics. If you, for example, lean towards a particular party, then volunteer for them, and also look after yourself and make sure you're strong and get ready to vote the next time that you actually can. Cordelia's said that they've been volunteering with rainbows to try and pass on positive messages, and wants to do more now. Do more now. If you feel like you're able, go for it. Do it. Use yourself in a useful way. So Lisa, I love that we have international people in this chat. This is really cool. Lisa is asking about why a government would be allowed to call an early general election without a public uproar. It was normality in the UK to not have fixed term parliaments up until 2010. So the government was also always the authority when it came to being able to decide when a general election was called. So it could be called at any time. I prefer fixed term parliaments because it allows for forward planning. It means that everybody knows when the next election is going to happen. And I feel like it's actually fairer. It gives the kind of like favour. It gives the favour to the party that ends up being able to plan and to be able to decide when the election is. So there would unlikely be a large uproar. Sorry, Taha, who is about to be a guest, is messaging me, so I will re-engage in a second. Are the Lords goners now? There was something about kind of like Lords reform in the Conservative manifesto, right? Shall I look it up? Laura wants me to clean my worktops. It's actually quite clean. This is a clean worktop for me, Laura. How dare you? Lucas is asking how long are terms for a prime minister and how many terms are they allowed? There's no law about it. We can have a prime minister for as long as they are voted in. So let me look at the Conservatives. It's clean, but it is not tidy. It's just fair. Yes, you can have as many terms as you want. Very rarely do prime ministers, as leaders of parties, win more than... Because we vote for parties, we don't vote for the prime minister. Only the leader of the party that gets the most votes ends up becoming prime minister. We don't vote for the individual, so there are no term limits on that individual. Amy is Australian and seeing the... Hello, Amy. Nice to see you. Is Australian seeing the results of the election is giving me flashbacks to their election in May when their Conservatives won, Labour lost the unlosable election. Yeah. Australia has had a really turbulent few years, actually. You guys have had like a new prime minister every 1 or 2 years or something like that. And we've not had anything to... We've had something quite similar here. Why don't we have term limits? It's anarchy over here. We don't... Oh, sorry, Ray, where are you again? Lucas is asking me if I have a Christmas tree. I do. It's over there. I'm not going to move the thing, move the camera, but you can see it in my latest video. Oh, Mary's only now realising how weird and fucked up the British electoral system is. It is. It's terrible. It's out of date and really bad. Sophia, we don't know what's going to happen to the NHS yet. It will not get as much funding as it would have had under a Labour government, for example, but it is going to get more funding. But it is continued to probably be underfunded because it needs a lot more. Essentially, it's been underfunded for as long as the Conservatives have had power, since 2010. And actually, before that, probably, people always talk about needing more funding for the NHS. As an Australian, what do I think about Jacinda Ardern? Love Jacinda. I think she's pretty cool. I don't know what New Zealand think of her, though. Okay, Elle is going to bed. Elle, thank you. Good night, cruel world. Thank you for being, I feel like you're a co-host of this. You've been a star. Thank you for partaking in this live stream. It means a lot. Awkward Penguin highlights a significant problem that we may have for disabled people. For PIP, proving that you're able to get disability allowance, for example, that is going to be a huge. That's probably going to be a huge issue in the next few years, and it's important for those of us who are privileged enough to have time and money to think about where we put that time and money, including in volunteering with charities that can help people with disabilities from backgrounds who are less fortunate than us. Cordelia, going to sleep is your own job. If you want to stay, you can stay. Taha seems to think that I can add him into this live stream, but I'm pretty sure that I cannot. November, we're going to be trolling until 4 a.m. Laura is, as always, oversharing. Do love Laura. She's off for a bath and doesn't want to take us in there because otherwise it would be awkward. It would be, yes. Right, we have a little bit of a waiting game now. We have kind of like, oh, it's midnight. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday the fucking 13th. Yeah. Non-traditional life is correct. Thank you, non-traditional life. Okay, I'm now going to call Taha, the god, the icon. Hello, Taha Khan, our first correspondent.
Howdy. How is all things happening?
All things are happening. Can everybody hear Taha? Oh, it's Charlotte's birthday. Say happy birthday, Charlotte.
Happy birthday, Charlotte.
Happy birthday. Okay. Ali has also just given us a super chat, which is highly unnecessary. I will make sure that as much of that $2 as possible goes to somebody more deserving than I. Taha, what is your analysis of this shit show?
My analysis of this palaver,
yes,
some would say, is wow. What has occurred? I have some memes. I have some cool, fun things that people could think about.
Excellent. Give us some memes.
Right. So initially, what I can say is very sad about this, to be honest.
Excellent.
I
Emotions high.
When Boris actually became, like, when he was running for the leadership, he had some quite reasonable things to say, which I was enthused about, because I thought that he would end up at some point becoming, you know, a 5-year prime minister, rather than just.
What were those things that he said that made you think that?
I liked part of his policy around police and crime, because he wants more police funding, but then he also wants harsher sentences. We do need more police. I don't necessarily think the harsher sentences for non-violent crime is like great.
Yeah, you're aware of the. I don't want to Andrew Neil you, Taha, but you know that his increase in police numbers actually just kind of like corrected the cuts that they did about 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes. However, that is still better than where the trajectory, right?
That is, from a low bar, it is better than how it actually is now. Good.
Yeah, there was a lot of things. I should be watching you here, shouldn't I? I've currently got you on my laptop and I'm looking at you that way. No, yeah, you are right. I think there were things that he was saying domestically that I was quite confused by. I didn't like the fact that I didn't like his like international sort of Brexit stuff.
The Brexit stuff. Also, anything to do with the fact that he used to go to parts of the world that were affected by colonialism and recite Kipling.
Oh yeah, I mean everything to do with I think that like he is in my eyes in many ways Jacob Rees-Mogg light. Like he is like he's like, you know, he's the more modernized Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Yeah. I was about to say that he was he's Jacob Rees-Mogg without all of the children, but that's not true.
So that was like initially, but then when the actual manifestos came out, I didn't see many of the reasonableness reflected.
Mm-hmm.
So very sad about it altogether. It didn't really shine through.
Can confirm was bad.
Yeah, some fun things though. I met 4 drunk Oxford students on the tube.
Can't relate. Don't know what they're like.
Who were trying to keep the last 3 years of 4 years of democracy straight in their head.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very, very funny time. Everyone on the tube was laughing because he was like, no, wait. So the Brexit Party existed after Brexit. And then the other one was like, wait, listen, no, that can't be the case, because why would there be a Brexit Party if Brexit has already been voted on? And then other people were chiming in on the tube, and the whole tube started getting involved, trying to figure out when the elections were, when we voted for different things. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
The other fun thing that happened was,
Why was that fun for you? Do you think that that's a good sign for society, that people were debating when an election actually happened?
I think it was. I think in a time of division, Jazza. In a time of division, it was beautiful to see people unite over confusion. Over confusion. Yeah, it was. I think it was really fun just to see a bunch of people who didn't know each other chat on a tube, and you know, everyone being different levels of sober. It reminded me a lot of in this one moment, this one sliver of London, in this one tube, in this one carriage on the Piccadilly line.
Yeah,
it reminded me of when football was coming home. And in that moment,
oh, get out.
All was well.
Did it remind you of the Olympics as well?
I wasn't.
You were a child. Yeah, okay. Well, for those of us who are slightly older, Taha, the Olympics are the halcyon days of everybody talking to one another on the tube. It was good times. People are now commenting in the chat that it's coming home.
I think we should get that trending. Why not? So the other thing that I would say is
Very different in Scotland, though. It's coming home. I assume was not a phenomenon.
Yeah, that's actually, speaking of Scotland.
Ah, excellent. Hot takes.
It is looking like the S&P is going to clean that.
They may not clean it. Out of 59, they're predicted 55.
Okay.
And we don't know where Jo Swinson, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, where her seat sits within that, whether she's going to retain her seat.
Interesting. That'll be a fun meme. But also, Boris Johnson losing his seat might be a fun meme because, even though, the last polling before the exit polls, I haven't actually looked at the exit polls because I've been on a train all day, but...
The exit polls are Conservative majority 368.
As in, do we know how close Boris's seat is, though?
No, we don't know that. So that's not what an exit poll would be able to show us. We have to wait until his constituency is declared.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
So the last YouGov poll that I saw...
Stejo seems to think that it's 60% for Boris's seat, though. Stejo's drop in the chat where you might know that from. But Taha, go on.
Yeah, the last YouGov poll that I looked at was Labour was 9 points behind the Conservatives in that seat, and there was a 9 percentage points of seat of support for the Lib Dems.
Mm-hmm.
So it does seem to be from the brief amount of Googling that I've done, I think that it will be a little bit closer than that, just because it seems like the Lib Dem vote has been collapsing in those,
yeah, especially in marginal constituencies, because people who vote Lib Dems are probably going to be more engaged with the idea of tactical voting, right?
Yeah, and the other thing that I think that may have not been taken into account by YouGov, that I'm quietly hoping for, I don't if I was a betting man, I would still say that Boris Johnson retains his seat. However, I do want to throw it out there that there is a university in that constituency that is not very politically active. I think it's Brunel.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can envision, I know someone who goes there, and it seems like there are a lot of people excited about the prospect of Boris Johnson losing his seat.
Oh, who wouldn't be? We love a decapitation.
I think that there is a chance that we have it be a closer race than you might think, because of how much of a meme it might be and how much a university campus would
relish that.
Around that, right?
So I don't want to piss on this too hard. But Stejo has just said that Sky have mentioned that he got 60% in his seat.
I see.
So despite the potential for meme execution is low.
Meme execution is low. Very, very sad.
Also, the BBC exit poll has predicted a 95% chance of an SNP gain from the Lib Dems in Jo Swinson's seat in Dunbartonshire East.
Yeah, this is what I saw as well, because I think I saw a lot of people predicting, a lot of I don't know, professional people.
Yeah, people who know shit, as opposed to people who Google shit. Who is us?
Right. Yes, exactly. Saying that they were looking at it to be quite likely that SNP clean up in Scotland and get every seat.
All 59.
However,
that would be cray-cray, because I think even in 2015 they got 56 or 57 seats. There were only 3 seats that were non-SNP.
Yeah. However, the only place that would definitively say that without kind of, hedging their bets on it, was The Sun. So I'm not really gonna.
Great source there, Taha. You're going to be using APA referencing for that source?
Oh yes, absolutely. And by the sun, I mean, I looked up in the sky and
Yes, yeah. It was a sundial, actually.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. How are you feeling, Chazza? Oh, I had some before we get on to you, because you've been live streaming for 2 hours. We can.
I have been live streaming for nearly 3 hours, actually. I'm really impressed with myself. Look at me.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks, baby. What were you saying?
I think that there's another thing that I really want to hammer home is I think that there are a lot of people who are now like not only being politically activated, well, there's always people being politically activated because young people seem to always just perpetually be existing. But I think that like, especially with the like filter bubbles and social media, I think that people are going to be in increasing amounts of disbelief as people become so like siloed off into their own little chambers. And I think that like one thing to kind of reiterate that I think will be slightly unpopular. I think that I'll get a lot of okay boomers in the chat, but I think that it is important to conceptualize people with different political opinions in one of two ways, and I think it's very clear when you recognize these two ways. One of which is that, you know, they also agree that it is, you know, they also have the whole nation's best interests at heart, right? Like there is that type of person. There is the type of person who has the whole nation's interest at heart, right?
Yeah, they do think that they have voted in the correct way.
Right, exactly. And those are the people that you can actually engage in discussions about, because you are both coming from a common place of we both want the best for this country. However, there will also be people who want best for
them and theirs,
because they are racists.
But they will probably not think of it that way, right? They'll think of it as like a protection of their community. They'll think of it as a protection of their families. But those are also things that I think that you can't. At least I think of this as another white person. Like it's not your job to go out there and to engage with and challenge racism in the white community. It's my job to do that because I am able to do so in those spaces.
Right. I guess my sort of like point there would be like, I think it's important to recognize what type of conversation you're engaging in and react accordingly, because I think that like now I've been seeing a lot of sort of like discussions happen where I think that people aren't recognizing that distinction and are having the wrong type of conversation, because you can't engage in a conversation about how you think the country should build if you don't have the same. You're not starting from the same premise.
Do you have like an example of that in terms of someone who's maybe gotten it wrong that you have seen and the way that they've engaged with somebody?
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of like. Okay, let's take the really contentious issue of like increasing privatization within the NHS, right? So it's like there will be the special interest people who, you know, are going to profit off. You know, if you're talking to, you know, someone who works in private healthcare who will likely get those contracts, they have a vested interest in the fact that, you know, they're always going to be pro privatizing the NHS regardless, because they are, you know, they have an inherent benefit from it. However, if you talk to just an average person who thinks that the NHS should be privatized and in order to increase the quality of service, they actually want the same thing as someone who wants to.
They want a better service. Yeah, exactly.
Because overall, they want a better service. So the conversation should be about, you know, how do we get the better service? What's the pros and cons of these two different implementations? You shouldn't be having the conversation about, you know, like why do you hate the NHS, or like why? Do you
because they don't.
Right, exactly. But sometimes I feel like there are people who think that an insurance-based system is better, not because they want the NHS to survive, but because they want to have an entirely privatized NHS. And at that time, and in that moment, you want to be advocating for the NHS, right? You want to be advocating for universal healthcare. And so it's different. You can't advocate for universal healthcare if everyone's going to be agreeing on that, because they agree with that, but they just think that privatization is better.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to identify where they're coming from in order to have a productive dialogue. And I think that, like, if someone's like, yeah, no, I want the NHS to be better, and the best way to make it better is to privatize it, you can't then be like, you know, well, let me tell you about how good universal healthcare is. Because
so rather than making assumptions when you're getting into these conversations, listening first, seeing what you're dealing with, and then going from there in terms of being able to figure out what the best type of conversation you have with this person is.
Yeah, I think that's true, but also I think that no one will ever say what their premises are. I think it's very difficult to understand that without actually having
right.
You have to be like, right, you not only listen but also be like, okay, but why do you think this? And they will end up getting to the, like, you have to get to the point where you both reach the same conclusion before or opposing conclusions. You have to, like, really understand the dynamic that you're about to
engage with, right? Yeah. Carol actually makes a really good point in the chat, and they say that they haven't managed much. They've tried with their mum, but their mum is really stubborn, and we also need to remember that people are not going to change their mind after one interaction, or very few people do, right? And so remember that you are part of kind of like the wider experience in society that somebody is having. And even if you kind of like plant a little seed of possibility there, and with like a relative, for example, maybe that's a conversation that you're going to have over months or years or decades. But be willing to do that if you care about that, that issue and that person as well. But also like care for yourself too.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. Like, I think that from a British perspective, it's quite interesting looking at the debate happening around healthcare in America, because it's in such infancy that you can, like, I think that for someone who, like, you can really see that, like, what they are arguing about right now is literally the premise of
universal healthcare. Whereas we are generally, most people in the UK, or the vast majority of people in the UK, are in favor of that as kind of like a baseline, and then we can talk around that. Yeah.
Right. So I think a great way to think about the conversation you're having with people around you is, like, actually what you want to be doing is not trying to shift people to your perspective if they're so diametrically opposed to you.
Right.
To literally start with establishing the premises that your argument builds on, and that could take a year. You know what I mean? Like, to get someone to be like, okay, you know, like, everyone should have healthcare free at the point of consumption. Maybe they don't agree with that. You know, like, now that is something that you have to convince them before you can even move on to talking about whatever else you want to talk about. But maybe that's like having those, like, basic initial premises that you can like start to build the foundations off. Like, I think that's more important. So, like, for me, I like to make sure that I really, really enjoy. I think that, like, a lot of people want to be like, vote Labour or vote for a Liberal Party, vote tactically, all of that stuff, which is also important things to say. But I think that at the same time, it's also important to, like, advocate for why voting is important in the first place. Because, you know, if you're already going to go vote, maybe the people who need to hear vote Labour will be convinced. But the people who aren't voting at all, you telling them to vote Labour isn't even going to be something that they can engage with, because they don't accept the initial premise that they should vote. And so it's about catching people at different times of you know, at different moments of the argument.
Have you heard my 3-point plan yet?
I have heard it many times.
What do you think of that 3-point plan, and how are you going to be implementing it?
What do I think of your 3-point plan? I think your 3-point plan is rubbish, and I'm not going to be implementing it. No,
I love you too, Taha.
don't have like an easy sort of answer to that. I think that I am currently thinking about it a lot. I don't have sort of like I don't already know what charity or cause I really wanna engage in. But I definitely think that is something that I'm going to take to heart. Like I really like that 3-point plan. I think that obviously I knew it. Like I knew that I could do these things.
Yeah. But this solidifies the need for it, kind of.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I could actually do that. Like, I could. Let's see where I can help. And also like let's see where I can help like effectively as well. Like I'm sure everyone in the chat and everyone like has like a unique skill that they can offer that I'm sure that would be valuable to charities. Like, and if you don't, like obviously they always just need manpower generally, right? So it's like. Can
I be real? Like we have, especially I'm assuming quite a lot of people. Stejo thinks that my 4-point plan is stabbing people with forks. It isn't, Stejo. Not this time, anyway. Maybe next election. But for especially young people who are digitally literate, your ability to be able to. Thank you for rotating. But your ability to be digitally literate and teach, for example, older people or people from disadvantaged backgrounds to be able to use internet services is something that's really easy for us and that we don't think of, but can be very valuable for charities, for example. There you go. Can I ask you for your take on one thing? So we're assuming that John McDonnell and Jeremy Corbyn are probably going to step down if they do indeed get under 200 seats. And probably if they lose, full stop. Who's your pick for the next Labour leader? Because it's fun to speculate.
It is fun to speculate. I'm going to be honest with you, Java. I have no idea.
Excellent, great. So it's clearly just me that has a wish list.
Yeah, if I'm honest with you, I have spent so little time. I've been so busy with university that I have spent so little time doing the sort of like outside of the what is happening right now reading that I don't. In my head right now, all I know about is Matt Weston, who is my MP who I voted for.
Yeah.
I know about the Tory one. I can't remember his name because I didn't vote for him.
Right, okay. I was like, he's probably not running for Labour leadership, though.
Right, exactly. And I know about who I could have voted for at home in Cambridge, and I know about Jeremy Corbyn, and I know about Boris Johnson.
So we have some names coming up in the chat. We've got Keir Starmer has been thrown out by Bobby. Oliver's thrown out Emily Thornberry, who's the shadow foreign secretary. Keir Starmer is the. I like Emily Thornberry as well. I think that she's sufficiently evil and would be able to tell off Boris Johnson like a headmistress, and I don't know if he'd be able to deal with that properly. Rebecca Long-Bailey has been thrown out. She's the shadow business secretary, is a big favourite among the Corbyn faithful. David Lammy, he's kind of like a bit of an outcast at the moment, but he's the Tottenham MP.
He's actually the MP of... this doesn't dox me, does it? Probably not. In the place that I'm currently sitting.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that the size of a constituency, Taha, is enough not to dox you.
But yeah, I was very excited. This is where I used to live, and I was excited to be able to vote for Lammy. But then I ended up.
And you didn't. Somebody has brought up Jess Phillips, and Jess Phillips is I would bloody love her. A normal human being as the leader of a political party. Imagine.
I think that Jess Phillips would be eaten alive by all of the media elites, and I wouldn't want to put Jess Phillips through it.
That's probably fair. A lot of people. There's some love for Jess in the chat. Emily Thornberry is getting some traction. So, guys, if you care about this, go and join the Labour Party. I believe it's only £4.
I think that someone. I think that it has to be someone who could. I just feel like it can't be someone who was very close to Corbyn.
I think it has to be, does it not? Because it goes to the Labour Party, and the Labour Party are still the people who end up choosing it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I mean by that is, I think that if it was to go to someone who is like Corbyn,
who is equally left wing.
No, I think basically they have to be able to put enough like cultural distance between themselves and Corbyn, because I don't think that the left wingness is what causes the issue. I think that what causes the issue is
Corbyn was the issue.
Well, Corbyn's position on Brexit and his history, his relationship with the EU has like tainted Corbyn's sort of.
Interestingly, the bookie's favourite at the moment was Keir Starmer.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the shadow Brexit secretary. He's also a man, and they've talked about the possibility of it being a shortlist of women for the Labour leadership this year because they've never had a woman leader.
Oh, this is the guy who looks like a thumb.
Yes, the generic white man.
Yeah, he looks like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, similarly, we just need him in a stripy shirt.
Yeah.
Excellent. So Taha is going for Keir Starmer. That's what those are the words that I'm going to put in your mouth. Excellent, Taha. Anything else you want? Or Emily Thornberry? Anything else you want to say to the chat? Because my arm hurts.
My arm hurts as well.
Excellent.
And that's all I want to say to the chat.
Great. Excellent. Thank you, Taha. Love you lots. Love you long time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, the blood rushed straight to my arm. You know what? Let's go straight to Swindon.
The number of votes recorded for each candidate.
Oh, wasn't Taha delightful? Say thank you to Taha.
As follows.
This is Swindon.
Bentley, Andrew Headley John, commonly known as Andy Bentley, Green Party, 1,710.
Oh, he's got a big beard, the Green Party member.
Critchlow, Haiti,
Oh, I hope everyone's arm gets better as well.
Democrats to stop Brexit, 4,408.
Lib Dem's got 4,000 in Swindon North. This is Swindon North. Oh, let's look it up actually.
Linegar, Catherine Sarah, commonly known as Kate Linegar, Labour Party.
This was a likely Conservative.
16,413.
So 16,000 from Labour. This was a Labour would challenge the Conservatives here.
Tomlinson, Justin Paul.
This is the Conservative candidate.
Conservative Party candidate. 32,000.
Oh, massive majority.
84.
Like over 50% of the turnout vote there. Christ, yeah, mate. It's like this. Christ.
The turnout was 67.
I'm 10 seconds ahead because I'm on terrestrial television.
And I do hereby declare that
A majority of 16,000, turnout of 67%.
duly elected.
Well, there's quite a big majority there for Conservatives in Swindon North, and by the way, if you're back to the Blair years, this was...
Pia, we're not going to get statistics on overall turnout until all of the votes are in. So we won't know actual overall turnout until then.
He's been an MP there since 2010 and working pensions minister since April.
Bye-bye, Dementa. Thank you for being so active in chat. I really appreciated it. Night-night.
Lib Dems and the Greens way behind. Let's look at the share of the vote, because the Tories are taking 59% of the vote in Swindon North, which has been seen in the past, as I say, as a key Labour Conservative.
Yeah, it looks like, so Emma's right, the average turnout so far is about low 60s. It's in the 60s at the moment, which is pretty standard for a general election.
6% increase for the Tories and a 9 percentage point drop
God.
for Labour. And Swindon North is just the kind of seat where if there was a big Labour surge, you would expect them to be doing well. But look at the swing. The swing is more than 7% from Labour to the Conservatives. So again, a very strong point of
6 a.m. is when 6 or 7 a.m. is when we'd expect all or most of the seats to be in.
Labour Conservative territory in the southeast.
Sorry, I kept on calling Dementor. Dementor. I apologise. Can we just appreciate how cool the stickers on my laptop are? Thank you.
Yeah, good question about it. And again, this is
I love, can I just say, I am standing Laura Kunsberg, bold choice of pink leopard print blazer.
Ever good to see Jeremy Corbyn into power?
I'm here for it.
Question. There'll be many people watching tonight. We've met many of them around the country. He built up a very strong and devoted fan base, if you like. For some people, he was the person who was capable of really changing the country for the better. But there were always profound doubts in the party about whether or not it was realistic they could build a coalition big enough to win the country. And that kind of result in the Swindon seats. You have to win Swindon seats if you've got a hope of building a majority and taking power in any kind of convincing way. And they're going the wrong way. Also just worth noting, one of the candidates there, the Labour candidate there, was one of those on the list who had been criticised and had to apologise for being found out to have shared anti-Semitic material. That too, for voters, as we've been going around the country, Labour's handling of anti-Semitism, although Jeremy Corbyn always says he did everything he could.
Laura Kunsberg looks tired, bless her.
Voters,
whereas we're still going strong. Although seriously,
so there we have the Conservatives holding on to.
I will probably call it a night in like half an hour, if you guys are okay with that. I've really loved how engaged you guys have been. Demeter.
When we hear people talk about speeding up the process, is
that
something that you recognise that the EU, the heart of the EU, the Commission, think is a good thing? Are they receptive to that or not?
Well, when you're looking at the ratification of the Brexit deal, so
I love Katja Adler.
With Boris Johnson, the EU is going to
She's so glamorous.
Summit, that it would like it ratified as speedily as possible by the new Parliament here. Why? Because we've had 3 years of uncertainty that's been corrosive in the UK and across the EU and has been really harmful for businesses and has tarnished also EU leaders' reputation for not being able to speed things up and get on with Brexit and see where it's going. However, what EU leaders will also say tomorrow, I'm told, is that they want to underline this ambition for a broad, comprehensive trade deal.
I'm glad you and Susie are enjoying yourselves, DJ.
They don't believe that can be done in Boris Johnson's timetable. He says he'd like to get this trade deal done with the EU by December of next year.
Oh yeah, Pia, stay for another half an hour. We're good. Oliver has quoted Katja Adler in an exam. I just want to be that glamorous.
Where would be the take back control in all
Speaks fluent German.
What EU leaders don't know, and I've had a couple of worried cats actually since we last spoke. The assumption is if there is a big majority for Boris Johnson, this could allow him flexibility to actually have a softer Brexit or actually let trade deal negotiations go beyond December next year. But maybe not. We don't actually know what Brexit Boris Johnson wants. Perhaps he could be more nationalist, more nationalist Brexit than we've sort of been led to expect so far.
So Katja Adler, who's the Europe editor, is suggesting, and to be fair, she's obviously the expert on this. She's suggesting that a majority for Johnson will mean that he'll have more flexibility to be able to maybe change the type of Brexit that he has. I don't know. I'm unconvinced, to be completely honest. I don't think he particularly cares about the type of Brexit that he has. He wants to get Brexit done. And I don't think he has the flexibility to be able to, for example, go and renegotiate. I love that Susie has jumped on. Just to confirm that she's not into the politics, I'm just on in the background writing Christmas cards. Excellent. I'm happy to be the background listening. I believe Daniel is doing a similar thing. Half of my partners are in the chat, and so that's been lovely.
It's going to come down also to the temperament. We haven't seen what kind of prime minister he is, and as Laura pointed out, you know, prime ministers, they're grow into the role. So it's going to be really fascinating to watch him over the next few months.
Well, indeed it is, given that people in the past
The BBC are very much talking as if, I mean, we know that this is probably almost definitely going to be a Conservative majority. From the look of things, actually, the vibe I'm getting from we don't have many seats that have come in, but the vibe that I'm getting is that it's going to be even higher than 368, to be completely honest. No news on Jo Swinson's seat, but apparently it looks like she's going to probably lose it here. Let's check when that declares.
So we'll be watching to see who he brings on in the party, whether he brings anyone back, and what kind of shape of the party, what signals he sends out.
But in short, you're telling viewers that you're expecting 2 months of pretty hyperactivity.
At least for the next month, just to get through the deal. And remember, because as long as that deal is not ratified, no deal technically on the table. I mean, with this kind of majority, you would expect that process to be a lot quicker. But we'll very quickly move on to talking about the future relationship, and that's going to be the big issue. Again, he's going to have to make a sort of slight adjustment, going from saying we're definitely out in December 2020 to then perhaps giving himself more room. But he will have to push him to be able to do that.
So Jo Swinson's seat isn't probably going to be declared until about 3 a.m. Just so we know. I like Jo as well. We had a conversation about Jo Swinson on the podcast a couple of like in the last episode or the episode before, and we were like, yeah, she's the only one who actually seems like a proper politician. And I know that there's like we used to berate politicians for being like politicians, but the fact that she seems like an actual professional, I quite like.
Any other country will want to sign on the dotted line of a trade deal with the UK until they know what.
Labour may be down to 160. Who's saying that, Andy?
So we're talking about the battleground. We've only had 7 results so far, although we are now.
If a leader loses their seat, it depends on the party. So Awkward Penguin is asking this: what happens if a leader loses their seat? They won't be able to be in the House of Commons, and I believe the Lib Dems recently changed their rules so that you didn't have to be a member of Parliament. And so different parties have different rules about who can be the leader. But generally, with especially the big Westminster parties, including mainly the Lib Dems, Labour and Conservatives, they only have leaders who are members of Parliament as well, because you need that visibility in Parliament. Jo Swinson is likely to step down as leader. Her leadership is not contingent on her being an MP, but she's likely to step down as leader if she loses her seat, because she's then unable to do a lot of the work that is required of her as a leader of a party, and part of that is being visible in Westminster.
But after that, you see this flush of bad results for Labour. So Dudley North going Conservative, very small majorities here. Newcastle underline was Paul Farrelly, Croon, Nantwich was Laura Smith, Canterbury, Barrow and Glenairs was John Woodcock.
I think she did have a really rough campaign. She had the Andrew Neil interview where he put to her that the more people see her, the less people like her. And can you imagine having that statistic about you? The more people know about you, the less they like you. Sad, man. No, Antonio, there will not be a second part of this on Next Tube.
In London, they're defending them better. But you can see the Conservatives doing an awful lot of damage just on this first.
No scheduled programming. You are employing that 3-point plan. We'll go over the 3-point plan in a second before we log off tonight. We've still got about 19 minutes. We're going to log off at 1 a.m. So I'm just doing my hair. Got a skin fade today.
We have Gower, Antonia Anthony staying in the House of Commons. Darlington Cardiff North, different story. All of them.
CJ and Susie, can you stop having a domestic in my chat, please? Thank you.
Going blue from red. Gedling, here we have some Labour defences. So at this point, Labour start to defend more successfully. The majorities are getting bigger. They hold the exit.
There is something about, I'm watching the BBC, there is something about Jeremy Vine and his enthusiasm for the green screen. They're expecting Workington to be blue. We should find out about that by. If any of you try and cancel me. Dennis Skinner might lose his seat.
Very south then a successful defense, but still the Conservative invasion doesn't stop. So then we go.
Dennis Skinner, the new father of the house, might lose his seat.
At what point do the Conservatives stop taking seats off Labour? Let's have a look here. Let's have a look at the names. Stoke-on-Trent Central, we already heard from Stone. Going blue under the exit poll. Wirral West. Then West Bromwich.
That really makes me sad. If you guys don't know who is the new house daddy, we won't know until the end of the night, Oliver. we can make that a phrase. We'll make it a gay thing. It's fine.
Successful defence in Coventry South according to the exit poll. And we get to the first result here. Blythe Valley, what was it? Majority 8,000. Conservatives take it. Now that I think is seat 91. If you order them by how marginal they were last time, Blythe Valley is seat 91. I'm tempted to see if we can just move the camera a little bit further and see, you see down, if you go further into the hundreds.
Oh my God, people are now reconnecting in my chat. Fantastic.
And it may be Walsall South is the biggest majority that Conservatives overturn on the Labour side. What's happening here? What's going on? Well, I'll show you something fascinating. If I ask the battlegrounds just to show me seats that voted Leave by a big margin, so 55% Leave or more, then you see, as far as I can tell, they've all gone blue. So I'm going back through them and I'm removing the seats that didn't have the big Brexit majority. And you can see, can't you? They're all going blue. So yes, those who said this is the Brexit election, that is not, maybe not the only factor, but the biggest factor here.
Jeremy, thanks very much. And we're going to just keep a very close eye, of course, on some of the seats that Jeremy was mentioning there, which will be key symbols of Labour.
Susie, Ali is verified through dubious memes. I just want to put that out there.
Many people are saying simply a question of the Brexit factor. Have a look at this result from Sunderland West just come in. This is the 8th result we've had. There are 642 to go. It's 1:45 in the morning. Sharon Hodgson holding on for Labour at 15,941. And Valerie Allen for the Conservatives. This is all from Cheshire, 12,218. The turn up there slightly less than we've seen elsewhere, at 57%. The majority of 3,720.
All right, chat. I'll be back in a second. Oof. You're all having a lovely time talking amongst yourselves anyway, aren't you?
42%. Let's see what happened to that Labour vote. And if you look at the change there, it's a huge drop in Labour's share of 18 percentage points. And the Tories up just by 4%. And the Brexit Party, again, this is a factor we've seen in these northeastern seats. Brexit Party at 14% from a standing start, obviously, because they didn't exist last time round. And you can see where those votes have gone. If we look at the swing, well, broadly speaking, the swing there is 11% from Labour to the Conservatives. And that's the kind of story that we're looking at. And that's the story that Jeremy Corbyn is having to look at as well. And his count will be in Islington. That's his seat. That's been his seat since the early 80s. And Nick Owens is there for us. Nick, just some thoughts, first of all, on what the Labour story is so far. And are Jeremy Corbyn's team in touch at all with you about what's going on?
They're in touch, but they're refusing to confirm what Mr. Corbyn will say when he comes here. Because, of course, you will wait to see what the Labour leader says about why he thinks he lost. Was it him? Was it Brexit? Was it something else? And also what he's intending to do as leader. Now, the expectation even before a single vote was counted was that if the result was as bad as many people in the Labour Party thought it would be, that Mr. Corbyn might not last the day, he certainly wouldn't last the week, and that John McDonnell would take over as interim Labour leader. Remember, the deputy leader, Tom Watson, is not involved anymore. He stood down. He's not running in an election tonight. But they are refusing to confirm Jeremy Corbyn's team that he will make that clear today. John Landsman is close ally, not just for weeks or months, but for decades. The man who set up and runs the Momentum campaign that's so vital for him has said that he thinks that Jeremy Corbyn will not outstay his welcome, but he might not have to make a decision until the new year. Well, I doubt very much he will be able to get away with that. I think he will be driven out of office if he's not dragged away from it by his wife, who will not wish him to go through the humiliation of facing another Prime Minister's questions and dragging this on for week after week. But crucial also, Hugh, is what he says, because while the official line coming from the people that you're hearing from in the studio, the official line from Stephen Corbyn is this is all about Brexit. More and more Labour MPs and candidates who may be about to lose their seats are saying, no, it is about Mr. Corbyn. Just one example on my phone coming through on Twitter, and Phil Wilson, the MP, up until the election for Sedgefield, Tony Blair's old seat, who, according to the Tories, is likely to lose that seat tonight, says for the UK Labour leadership to blame Brexit for the result is mendacious nonsense, he said. Jeremy Corbyn's leadership was a bigger problem. To say otherwise is delusional. And believe you me, for every one person doing that in public, there are dozens, if not hundreds, doing it in private. The battle over why Labour lost will be the beginning of the battle over who succeeds Jeremy Corbyn as the next Labour leader.
And interesting, Nick, that while you've been talking just there, giving us that analysis, Barry Gardner, of course, the Shadow Trade Secretary, has been working closely with Jeremy Corbyn, was asked if the party needed a new leader and said this: these are things that will be discussed by the leadership of the party in the next few days. So I think that's probably quite a powerful sign from Barry Gardner that he expects the conversation to be quite robust about Mr. Corbyn's future.
Yeah, the truth is Jeremy Corbyn's leadership is over. It is not an issue whether he's gone. It's only an issue exactly when he's gone. I don't think you'll concede today. It's not Mr. Corbyn's style. He likes to consult and talk to his allies. He, remember, wanted above all to control the Labour Party. He wanted to make sure that his departure, and the moment of his departure, ensured that someone like him, someone who believes in what he believes in, can hold on, and the tussle will then take place between the real critics of the Corbyn leadership, the Emily Thornberrys, for example, the Keir Starmers, maybe more outside figures like Jess Phillips, for example, or Lisa Nandy, then, and the figures who are clearly successor to Jeremy Corbyn come up in politics, and because of him, people like Rebecca Long Bailey, for example. But the argument has to be about why they lost first, and finding that. And what was so important about that Swindon result that came in, a dramatic swing against Labour, not in the North East, couldn't be blamed by being on the wrong side of the Leave argument per se, in which who was gaining in Swindon North? The Liberal Democrats and the Greens were significantly gaining. So the simplistic view that this was all about, as it were, why working class men and war people who feel Labour let them down on the issue of Brexit, that ain't going to wash.
Nick, good to talk to you again. Thanks very much for promising that for us in Islington. Just a quick note of some more results coming in. First result from the northwest, from Cheshire, which is Horton, and it's a Labour hold. And by the way, the swing from Labour to Conservatives is of 5.1% there, slightly less than we've seen elsewhere. So quite an interesting thing for us to be noting. Can we see the figures for Horton? Let's have a quick look. And just to confirm these for you, Derek Trigg for Labour, who's been there since 1997, he's been a very experienced MP, being re-elected on a majority of 18,975, a turnout of 64%. And if we look again at Labour share of the vote, 63%, which means they've taken a hit there, and they're down by 9 percentage points on last time. So, as I was saying, the swing is 5.1%, which is less than we've seen elsewhere. So, just a quick update for you of the results. That's our first result of the evening in from the northwest of England, from Cheshire, and that's a Labour hold in Horton. Just to say that Heidi Allen was with me, the former MP for South Cambridgeshire, and Darren Banks, the founder of Leave EU. Good to have you both with us. Thank you very much. We'll be chatting in just a second, and of course I'll put some points to Laura as well. But let's go on Andrew once again.
We're going to go to Swindon South. It's a seat held by the Conservatives, with a majority of just under 2,500. It's held by the Justice Secretary, Robert Buckland. He joins us now from the count. Robert Buckland, have you held on to your seat to remain a seat? Not big majority. Are you still going to be the MP?
Well, Andrew, they are opening the ballot box now. So,
Hello.
so,
I'm back.
But the North Swindon result has been a sensational swing for the Conservatives.
I love that when I'm gone, you just talk about the clutter in my kitchen. It's organised clutter, how dare you? I'm going to have some celery and some hummus. It was really fun, Pia.
Let's go back to you. It looks like you're going to win by a substantial majority. Do you have any idea what to do with it?
Well, I think we have it.
Boris, the leaders haven't said anything yet, and they probably won't until there's clearer kind of like results, Pia. all the channels have turned up tonight. It's been a great party, guys. I am going to call it a night at the top of the hour.
You're getting a lot of blue-collar votes. That's why you're winning seats in the
Celery at this hour, indeed, I know. Pushing the boat out. I've gone crazy. Who cares? We've got a Conservative majority, mate. If you don't live now. I'm losing my mind. Oh. I'm licking the lid.
I believe that breaking the impasse of Brexit
There's an ASMR channel in this somewhere.
more growth into our British economy and allow us to pay for those quality public services. You know, Andrew, we're listening to people right across this country, wherever they're from, and we want to make sure that
Everybody loves the kitchen. Love this kitchen. We've had comments on the lights. That's a rice cooker. Everybody needs a rice cooker. There's my whole grapefruit, which I've taken one slice of and is still sitting in my empty gin and tonic. Indeed, it's red pepper hummus from Waitrose because I'm middle class.
But after the austerity of the past decade, a lot of that is
No, red pepper, my friends.
your public spending. You're not reversing any of that.
Posh water bottle. Oh, yeah. That's old. We can't find the top to it. We don't know where the top is. It's a little bit awkward. Secret story. Yeah, actually, I'm very happy about this majority, you know. Celery. Negative calories. Costs more energy to digest it than it does that it gives you. It's just water and roughage.
The British Treasury that have to go in hock to the international community. We want to make sure that our country has sustainable growth, an independent sovereign state, in a way that is
Susie, who's a much more veteran streamer than I am, remembers when people hated people eating on streams. You know what? I'm throwing caution to the fucking wind. Fuck this shit.
Words about looking at how our democracy operates. The other justice said, what does that mean?
Emma, go get veg from your kitchen. YOLO, self-care, look after yourself.
And understand the pressures and the strains that have been placed upon it as a result of the 3.5 tumultuous years.
All of the Conservative candidates look the same. They're all like Are you guys aware of what a twonk is? Twinks that have twonk. A lot of the Conservative candidates are twonks.
Very well, thank you. Let's go to my guest here in the studio. Joined by Danny Finkelstein, who takes the Conservative Whip in the House of Lords, and by Yisha Azarika, who used to work for the Labour Party. So why is Labour doing so bad? Is it Brexit or is it Mr. Corbyn?
It's Jeremy Corbyn, 100%. And candidates all across the country have said that he's come up on the doorstep.
Google the etymology. The etymology of twonk.
It's the anti-Semitism, it's the culture of bullying and pushing anybody out of the party and doesn't share that view. And tonight's defeat is not just historic, it's harrowing, not just for the MPs who will lose their jobs, but those people who really need a Labour government and will not be able to withstand what
so
coming down.
all of the rosettes, and we call them rosettes, not ribbons, water dragger. All of the rosettes, everybody who's standing as a candidate will generally wear a rosette so that you can identify the candidate. And I think also their teams as well will wear, if you're campaigning for a particular party, you tend to wear a rosette. I'm going to have another celery stick. You know what? How much longer are we all going to be alive? Love it. It's a heptapod. It's not a heptapod. It's a, what's 5? Quad. Quintapod. It's a quintapod.
They wanted a deputy for the law page and so on. That's what John Corbyn is. Mr. Corbyn, yeah, maybe he was a bit.
There was a lot of screaming in the Thunder Forest. There was the period when I think Blythe Valley came in that it got a bit dramatic, but I think we've calmed down a little bit now. Oh, that's cute. Where are you, Water Dragger? Are you in the Nordics? So that they wear party ties over there. I think I quite like the rosettes. Because it's like anybody, like it's not a gendered thing. You can wear a rosette, whatever. It also makes them, it feels like they're ponies parading in front of us for our amusement, which I quite like. Oh, thank you, Fireword Sparkler. Appreciating the love. We'll be thinking of you in about 11 months' time. Sylvie, scared is good. Scared is fine. But use that fear usefully. Apply yourself. If you haven't heard the 3-point plan, we have a 3-point plan, which has become a meme now. 3-point plan is find a charity to volunteer for because they're probably going to need you and it will help you feel useful. Secondly, second part of the 3-point plan. Sorry, I keep getting distracted by chat. Second point of the 3-point plan is to join a party that is aligned to you and help shape the future of that party. We assume that actually the Lib Dems may end up losing their leader. Jo Swinson may lose her seat. They may have a leadership election. Jeremy Corbyn is unlikely to stay on as the leader of the Labour Party after this election. There's at least 2 leadership elections there. Join whichever party is most aligned to you and help shape the future of those parties. Third step of the 3-point plan, get the fuck off social media and look after yourself for a few days. Recharge. You're useless if you are stressed and sad. And that gets amplified by social media. Okay? Okay. I don't know, is eating celery a junk food thing? I do it. I don't know. I don't know how common my leadership is. Gina Miller for Lib Dem leader. She doesn't want it, Oliver. Susie, what do you... And Susie wants attention. Hello, Susie. What's up? Thank you, Pia. I think my 3-point plan is really good as well. I came up with it on the fly. I didn't even think of it. So I'm going to be doing kind of like a recap video tomorrow. Once we're all rested and stuff, and it's going to lean heavily into the 3-point plan. Oh, I thought you were being funny. You know how people say Caesar's explaining I thought you went no one speaks to me. But number 3 is a powerful one. I'll give you that. Get the fuck off the socials.
And an interesting note from John Curtis at the Results Centre saying that they're happy that
Guys, who wants to stick around? Because I don't want to be a reason that you stay up really late. But I don't think I'm very tired. And if you don't mind me eating my celery, this is going to quickly, Connor's staying around. This is quickly going to become just a Jazza eating celery video, to be honest.
Let's have a look at the BBC prediction.
Hey, Dixon.
It is 2 minutes past 1 in the morning on our election coverage, and the prediction is still at this point that the Tories will end up on around.
Liana, go and sleep if you have an exam to revise for. Emma's sticking this out. Pia is very against my celery addiction. See you, Reems. Thank you for coming.
So let's cross the newsroom and head towards the balcony there, where we can join my colleague Tina to give you the details.
Thanks to you. Hello. Early results appear to back up the exit poll prediction that the Conservatives are on course for a substantial majority, their biggest since 1987. Labour is expected to lose around 70 seats, its worst performance in more than 3 decades. In the first shock result of the night, the Tories gained John Valley from Labour.
Right, guys. That's me out.
After the first December.
Thank you so much for coming, genuinely. Remember the 3-point plan.
Our exit poll is suggesting that there will be a Conservative majority.
Volunteer, join a party, look after yourself. 3-point plan.
As people take it in, it's worth remembering this is a forecast, not the final result. It projects a big.
Pleasure. Thank you, all of you, for coming. I'm going to say I'll keep on getting distracted by anything. Oh, and Priti Patel's on my screen again. Right, guys, I'm going to go. Good night. Love you all. Be strong. We need to be. We persist. Okay, bye. Ding. That was weird. I don't know how to end live streams. Toodaloo!
The Tories taking the long-held Labour seat of Forest Valley.